black screen. Can other people see this? I'm not sure if Can people see slash hear me? Yes and yes. Okay. My bad. That's a pretty concerning thing to say. Hey, Kaboom, welcome. And hey, everybody. All right. Well, so I wanted to start by covering my tenets, which I usually do on Monday, but I did not stream on Monday. Mac, thank you for the resub. Welcome back. Uh, and so I have a bunch of discussions. I think the title of today's stream, what do I even call it? Something like, let's talk about the future of the stream. It's not a negative thing. I see it as a positive thing. Yeah, let's talk about the direction of this stream. So I've had a bunch of different thoughts, but let's get some of these things out of the way first. We'll give people a chance to kind of filter in, and that way I can get input from more people. I just recorded a new video yesterday. This video took a surprisingly long time to make, given what it is. It's a video on this mini. Okay, stop talking out. It's a video about the mini PC, and it's 7.5 minutes long. That's not the longest video I've ever done, and yet it took like hours. What made it take so long? I'm not totally sure. I think, first of all, Disciple, thank you for subbing. I think part of it is I've been kind of torn between doing things in fewer takes versus more takes. So in my mind, if you do something in fewer takes, it comes off more personal and less polished. And if you do it in more takes, it's the opposite of this. It's a little bit less personal, but it's certainly more polished. And so this one just took a lot of takes to do. And I try to keep the presentation of everything as polished as I can. Yeah. Because I feel like if you want to watch an unpolished, very personal take, just watch the live stream. Hey, Nate. And thank you too. And thank you. Happy Wednesday to you too. It's a video on this mini PC. Yeah. Yeah. So tenant review. I guess, like I said, I'll cover this pretty quickly. More cutting is distracting. I think you've done a good job in most of your YouTube videos. So I think there are a couple of different kinds of cuts. There are cuts mid-sentence or sort of mid-paragraph where literally all you have to do, imagine if you had something like this typed out in a document and these were actual sentences. So a lot of YouTubers that I see, or maybe not a lot, but some YouTubers that I see will memorize one sentence, say it to the camera, and then like done, there's their take. And so when they go to edit their video, they must have like, 96 videos that are really just one sentence long and they cut every single one of them. I cannot stand that because to me, it feels like well, okay. I can't stand it because I don't like the presentation style, but I guess the reason why I can't stand it is not actually what I was originally going to say, which is it feels like it's low effort. I think it is overcoming difficulties that person has. So I don't think that's a problem, but I think the problem is how it comes off stilted. So anyway, I try to do like that video was, I don't know, maybe like 8 videos together. So they're all about a minute long. And yeah, that way there's a mix between me kind of figuring out what content I want to say and nailing all the right points. Because sometimes I find that if you miss even one little thing that YouTube comments will comment on it and be like, oh, why didn't you mention this? And I'm like, I planned on it, but I did things off the cuff and I forgot to. Hey, Dave. Shooting, editing, and uploading a video in one day is pretty quick. Yeah, and I'm trying to do some more things with the editing to like, I did a little effect in this one that I haven't done before, and actually 2 effects. And one of them did not take a short amount of time. And I've used different editing software in the past. There's something called Camtasia, which for just doing presentations seems like practically the best one. And if you're going to do YouTube style videos, I feel like you need to do some sort of post-processing stuff like an Adobe After Effects kind of thing. And I don't actually use that. Yeah, so I want to kind of fly through the tenant review here. The other reason I want to fly through this is because I didn't stream for that long last week. So tenant review only streamed for 1, 2, 3 days last week. Yeah, I think it was that. Okay, so breaks still going fine. I don't think there's an issue there. Mixed it up. What did we do last week? It was the end of the Code Jam and then Godot multiplayer stuff. Yeah. Pretty good spread of content last week. End of the Code Jam and some Godot. multiplayer. Oh, north is the direction to go with the stream? Okay, yeah, then we can just end it right now. You could have a video with a million cuts. I think as long as there's an obvious enough thing on April Fools and that people don't take things seriously, I think it's kind of fine. Light on post-stream to-dos. So there's been a lot of stream tasks and they're not necessarily getting done, but I have an idea, which is to try co-working again. And MVP, yeah, this has been fine. The Godot stuff was all learning anyway. All right, sustainability. Took vacation. Feel great. Yeah, I took Friday and Monday off. I think it's been really good. Boring activities. Did I write that I want to? Yeah. Still going fine. The Godot stuff probably wasn't super interesting for a lot of people. Embracing failure. I don't think there was anything that really kind of failed last week. No opportunity last week. And then a couple of last things. Community, moving forward with the meeting, and successes. Yeah, let's think. What are the successes from last week? So I have learned a lot about Godot. And the Code Jam, I think, was a success. Yeah, I think all that stuff was great. Code Jam was amazing. Loved seeing people's projects. And I learned a ton about Godot. Good successes in my mind. Okay, so that is the tenant review. We can... Yeah, we can mark that as done. I genuinely thought you were reviewing the movie Tenet. People have made that joke, but they never seriously thought it. Also did the gifting thing, right? Was that last week? Man. Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah. Okay, let's put that down too. I also coded the gift command. Now, I want to show you something really, really cool. Man, Funky Monkey is amazing. So right now, if you go to a.bot.land/points, and you don't have to because I'm going to show this on screen, this is what the page looks like. This was meant to be super fast and just get things done. And it shows everyone's point totals. Funky Monkey just took it upon himself to do, where is it? To do this. Look at this. This is way better. I mean, there's Dark Reader on. This is way better. So yeah, this is awesome. I definitely want to incorporate this. So yeah, we're going to do that at some point too. Okay. I want to talk about some things. So let's bring this up over here. Tenant review is done. I'll move this stuff to the bottom because I want this to be discussion time and not to keep pushing this off. 9,000 points. I mean, you never know. Okay. Let's also swap the tabs here and let's close out of pretty much everything else that I have. All right. So discussion topic number 1, what if I streamed less? This is all going somewhere. So here's what I've been thinking. There used to be, when I originally kind of started this thing, I had said, you know what, let's do 4 days of streaming. And then I was like, oh, I also want to grow a YouTube channel. This was pretty much impossible. So I couldn't do, or wait, did I have, maybe I said 5 days of streaming? Yeah, I said 5 days of streaming. And I said I want to grow a YouTube channel. And I just said that's not possible. So the new reality was we did 4 days of streaming and Tuesdays for YouTube. All right, now here's the new reality. Is there are lots of tasks that I can't really do on stream, and I'm not carving out time for them. If I do, then it's that I'm sacrificing something else. So here's what I'm thinking. My proposal is, what if Thursdays are always co-working days, and I do the proper co-working thing that people expect, which is, I don't know, like X minutes of focus time. There is no audio whatsoever for this. I'll be muted. and then Y minutes of chat time. And maybe X is, I don't know, 20 and Y is 5. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think the design is great. I'm super happy with it. Could only stream in the morning. Afternoon streams are too late for me, so no problem. Well, and so, okay, one of the things that goes into this is I have tasks that I think need to be done. Hang on one second. Hello? Okay, my wife called with super good news, which is unfortunately private and I can't share it. But man, wow. It's not pregnancy or something before people start guessing things. We're not planning on having kids. But yeah, she doesn't call unless there's something super important to talk about because she knows I'm streaming. So yeah, congrats to her for good news. Oh man, hang on, I gotta write something down. Like I said, I don't like taking phone calls on the stream, but since she knows that I stream. Okay. Yeah, so what was I saying before I got sidetracked very wonderfully? Oh yeah, so tasks build up, and there are a couple things that I thought about here. Oh. There's a good news person. No, I can't share it, Joa. Yeah, I see your comment on YouTube. Hello, still on the mic. No. Yeah, I knew that was on the mic. I figured it'd be clear that I'm answering the phone. A new version of OneNote. Sammy, thank you for gifting this up. And I wonder if good news will ever find out about this. So, yeah, I thought about what does Twitch growth mean? And thank you again, Sammy. And Twitch growth to me means tons of hours and pulling from people on other platforms. So typically like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And well, and or pulling, I guess. I am never going to do the tons of hours thing. And I don't think that Twitch growth is a good idea necessarily. I don't know what it does exactly. And I don't think it should be the main focus. So basically, this is what made me conclude I don't want to do more time on stream. Excuse me, but I think co-working could work. Hey, Tropical Banana Man. I thought my name was something else. Never mind. Hey, it's me, Tropical Banana Man, in case my name didn't make it clear. Now I want the correct pronunciation. Wait, do I have it in here? Pronunciations? Because this is, ooh, that's not good. I think you told me a while ago. Let me go find this thing. I changed the names of these folders. I think this should work. Source, Z shell, pronunciations. Yeah. Do I not have, I don't even know how to search for, I don't know how to search for your name on you. Wait, this isn't you though. I'm not sure. Yeah, you should let me know how to pronounce it. So I don't know. Maybe this isn't. They stream whenever they release a video. You mean the creation of the video, or what exactly? So I was gonna say maybe this isn't something too questionable, but here is my question, I guess. How do people feel about Thursday co-working streams with this structure that we have? So basically this proposal. Hey Rami, thanks for the resub. 4-year resub. And no one has told me I look wonderful today, but you might have implied it, so thank you. Hey Hideo. Going through nearly the exact same calculation and contemplation right now. I've really enjoyed doing some co-working, even with a bare bones setup. Yeah, well, and I think it's like, okay, if I weren't trying to do content creation full time, I would just be like, you know what? I stream once a week. I do whatever I want. People just get used to it. And I could technically do the same thing here, but then, well, not the once a week part, but I guess 4 times a week. But I need to figure out how all of my stuff gets done. And honestly, as stupid as it sounds, I had not really made the realization that, you know, I said I did the whole 5 days of streaming, and then I'm like, well, where does YouTube go? And I just didn't know. I didn't have an answer. And then my wife was like, why don't you take a day for that? And I thought, that's great. And yep, I've been pumping out YouTube videos every week since then. Time where chat breaks keeps it dynamic. Yeah. So it's co-working where you don't show the screen. Yeah. No screen. So no screen sharing and no audio whatsoever. I'll be muted. Why not have focus time with Mike but no chat? So you could comment your thoughts. It'd be less distracting for you. I can still comment my thoughts regardless of whether you can hear the thoughts. And the last time I did one of these, quote unquote co-working streams, people were not the happiest about it. I believe that Hideo said it's the worst of both worlds. In that you can't focus because I'm still talking and I'm still trying to entertain, so I'm not really focused. You think this is not for you? Yeah. Yeah, no music, I think. You could just provide your own. Very little chance you'll be able to pronounce it correctly. Experience tells me. Plenty of videos available. Pretty common name. Sorry to derail the conversation. Well, people had said it before. They said it was Juo. At least this person did. But maybe they were saying it and they're like, he's just close enough. So yeah, I don't know. Not even close. Okay, well, maybe that's how that person pronounced their name. When you're in focus mode and coding, do you usually listen to music? In that case, which music? I usually listen to either classical or video game music, and I don't always listen to it when I'm coding on my own. I find it very hard to listen to music and still do something. If your voice is distracting, they can mute. They could, but the problem with that is that they wouldn't know to unmute when it's time. Because you might be in a different tab and you might be like, oh, I missed the conversation this time. Like, this is the whole reason I'm in the co-working stream. Personally, I don't like them. It does nothing for me. I come to stream to listen or interact. Co-working streams don't show screens because they aren't allowed. So for me, it's kind of a mixture. I think the focus for me in that time would be like private stuff. And what I mean by private stuff, it literally could mean anything. It could mean just personal tasks that have nothing to do with development, things like whatever, emailing people, etc. Or it could be stream tasks that are sensitive. So things like OAuth tasks or whatever, any other thing, looking through production data. Are just a mimic sitting in an office together. I think that they probably are. And I guess what I'm kind of talking about, maybe this word co-working is throwing people off, but my goals are have time to do the tasks that would otherwise fall outside of stream hours. And I guess the other goal here is keep viewers happy. Hey, Puka. Yeah, nice. Dragon Breath chili over there. 4 days of streaming, 1 stream a day, 4 hours of stream, flex in co-working streams during off hours. So that is another idea. And that is something I've been kind of considering a little bit too. Yeah, what if, so I guess proposal number 1 is co-working streams once a week, 3 or 6 hours, maybe 3 hours. No screen sharing or audio during focus time. Focus time and chat time swap off every so often. 25 minutes, 5 minutes. Repeat. All right, so that's proposal number 1. Proposal number 2 would be fewer streams, but longer hours for those streams. So right now it's 3 hours per day. 3 hours per stream, 2 streams per day. What if it were 4 hours per stream, 1 stream per day? If no screen sharing, what would it look like? It would look like probably just this. I mean, cleaned up a little bit. In fact, I had a co-working thing. Oh yeah, the keyboard thing on the side. Yeah, so it would look like this. I'd probably ditch the green screen. Hey, Caleb. Co-working feels like a silent stream with lo-fi music. I could just do that myself. I try to support streams as a lurker that co-works, but I tend not to click. Yeah, and I don't know what it's like as a viewer of these streams. It's definitely something I want to try again, regardless of whether I settle into it. So I'll need to figure that out. By the way, there is another goal that I have here, which I don't know if I wrote down, which is like be motivated to do the tasks. Number 2 sounds saner. Yeah, it drastically changed the number of hours per week. So right now is about 24 hours per week. And the proposal is, well, like 16 hours per week. So that's cutting out quite a lot. Defines a lot of what it would be for viewers. What about you? Do you still plan on reading chat? What's the main motivation? Are viewers unhappy that you mentioned keep viewers happy? What are the benefits versus you versus working offline? The benefit for me is the being motivated to do this stuff. I'm worried that if I were just like, okay, it's Thursday morning, let me just do my tasks that I have, that I might not do them. And that is actually proposal 3, I guess. Proposal number 3 is just cut out a stream and do what would have been co-working. The goal isn't streaming hours. Yeah. Can you switch into focus mode when interrupting every 25 minutes? I think so. I don't know about 25 minutes, but I think there is a frequency, an interval that you could set that would not disrupt your workflow. And as an extreme, imagine if it were 3 hours of focus mode and no chat. I think just being on the stream would let me focus. So there's got to be something in between, like 10 minutes and 3 hours, maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes. I don't know what. Would you have in mind for YouTube? I see it's mentioned for future. Yeah, so I think some of this stuff comes down to Twitch growth. And I kind of want to talk about this. So there is no discoverability. Well, there's very little discoverability for Twitch channels in this section, software and game dev. And so the way that people tend to grow these streams is either a lot of hours. So yeah, your options are a lot of hours or external advertising, essentially. E.g. just social posts on, just social media posts. Hey, Coder's Life. What is this for? Rectangle? Remind me later. Yeah, so, and then what's the end game there? So Twitch is also a bad platform for monetization, I think, in terms of like sub revenue share is 50-50. And the only major benefit is Amazon Prime. Yeah, YouTube Shorts. That's what I mean by social media posts. I guess it's not super clear. Social media / YouTube posts. They're updating revenue stuff. Yeah. So they have announced that you could get to a 60-40 or a 70-30 revenue split, but it's all based on having recurring subscriptions. And so anyone who uses an Amazon Prime subscription now cannot use a recurring subscription. So it's pushing people into spending their own money instead of Amazon's money. And it's just, I don't know. I don't think it's infeasible. I think it is a good move for Twitch. It's not, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't think Twitch is great for growth, and I don't think it's good for monetization. And so I think it's good for a couple other things. It's good for motivation, and it's good for accountability. And these are the reasons I've always been streaming on Twitch. I can't seem to type today. Or my controversial videos. The thing is, you still need to make those somewhere that will have an audience. I don't know how many people can just stream on Twitch and grow an audience, because think about it, those controversial videos, they get clipped and then they get posted elsewhere. And now they pull in people from those social media posts. So I think that's generally how people end up growing. You're either on a platform that has a bunch of natural growth, and I don't think Twitch is there, and I don't know if they'll ever kind of get back to there. And I'm not saying it's impossible to have viewers in software and game dev. Clearly, there are people who have that, but I don't think they obtained it streaming on Twitch. I think they obtained it through Reddit and YouTube and short form content. Most of the Twitch people I watch, I discovered on YouTube. Yeah, and so that's where I kind of wanted there to be more of a focus on YouTube. I also just discovered something. So I've been talking about this whole watch hours thing on YouTube, and the way that it works is you need 4,000 public watch hours to get to partner, and that unlocks ad revenue. This means pretty much nothing on its own, because unless you get a bunch more watch hours after that, you're not getting more views or something. It's just a split on the ad revenue. And so I had my live streams there, and I had just broken 2,000 hours. And then I made them unlisted, and I noticed that the number went back below 2,000, and I think it's related to having made the videos unlisted. So I thought it was the video has to be public when people watch it, but I think it's that it needs to stay public. Mix of posting on Twitter and Instagram where they post snippets of code and and so I guess what I'm trying to get at is, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any platform, it's not Twitch. I don't think people are growing through Twitch. And you know, I've said this myself, like, why does any of this matter? And I think there are two parts. I think one is I expect a big enough audience. And for me, that's probably like in the 200 to 300 range. And then also there's monetization. So like I do want to keep doing this stuff. I want to find something that's sustainable monetarily. And I had originally planned, when I did this back in 2020, that I would be making courses. And I've not made a course since I've gotten back. And that's not because I don't plan on doing it anymore. I will probably get to one in March. But I don't know how often I'll do that. I don't know how many I'll have to do. I don't know how much I want to grow that. This is all just a year of exploration and discovery and figuring out what content I like to make and what content people like to watch. And I think there's a very happy middle ground that we just have yet to sort of explore and discover. You're using Obsidian for notes. Got excited to see it in the wild, so now I'm just here. It's good to have you. And people have come in through a lot of different sources, and I think getting them to stay is sometimes a little bit of an uphill battle. And I'm not just talking about like immediately post raid, but some people come in and they're like, oh, this is cool content, I'd love to come back, and I don't tend to see them again. And that doesn't mean they've never come back. Maybe they're lurking, maybe they're not logged in. Encourage more people to sub on Twitch or have a coffee or Patreon. Yeah. And so at some point, I probably need to share what are the monetization goals so that people know what we're working toward. Because right now, it would just seem like it's an open-ended, oh, he just keeps asking all the time. Never seen them actually code or doing game dev. Yet it has 10K people at the moment. Yeah, and so my understanding of how Pirate Software got there is by doing YouTube shorts. And by the way, this is why I say Twitch growth is not a thing. It's not that you can't have higher numbers on Twitch. It's that I don't think you obtain them through Twitch. And if you do, it's not in software and game dev. Like if you look at the people who, like Lana, for example, Lana has probably 300 to 400 concurrent viewers. I think it's really good for software and game dev. And I don't think she really posts outside of Twitch. So I think that was like natural Twitch growth. I think that's sort of the ceiling for natural Twitch growth. If you were in a category like Just Chatting or League of Legends or something, maybe that's much higher. But otherwise, you look at Pirate Software, you look at Primeagen, they used YouTube mostly, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not saying that's a problem. Like I'm not even, there's no judgment here. There's none of that. It's that I don't think focusing on Twitch is a good idea for me. And I want to stream. So that's where all this came from. So anyway, we get to the proposals. I want to put this at the bottom again, because I want to talk about like, what does this mean? How do I still move forward with my work? And there are a lot of goals that I'm talking about here. And one of them is just getting stuff done. For those wondering, what am I talking about when it comes to these tasks? This list, I try to keep a sort of a short, like, this is not so short because it's all the discussion topics, but typically this is pretty short. It's like, hey, here's the multiplayer stuff I want to do. And maybe we can get this done on Wednesday, maybe not, maybe we push it. And then there's the backlog. And so this backlog, if you just look at, I'm on page 3 right now, it ends on page 11. That's way too much stuff. And like, when does this get done? It pretty much doesn't. That's where the co-working stream or just doing this off stream is probably a good idea. I think I discovered Primeagen via Twitter posts. Yeah. That's the whole outside thing. if you want to monetize the time you spend streaming. So question, what needs to be asked in what's the value audience will get? Maybe you can stream recording of educational videos and then split it and make a course out of it and post it on YouTube with ads. Yeah, so that was the, I talk about this sort of like old style Adam Learns content. Technically, this show started in 2020, and the goal back then was learn stuff so that I could teach it in a course. And I only did it for a few months. And in that time, we made all of the content that you see on Adam Learns. So we made the site itself, that took like a month. And then we made the 3 courses, and that took another, 2 months or 3 months. And then that was it. Then I went and started working for Google, and I disappeared for 3 years. So this was not long enough to grow an audience here. People don't say, oh, well, he made 3 courses and I was interested in all of them and I can't wait for a 4th one. It's like, well, there's an eclectic group of courses here and that's it. So if I got back to that, I think I'd really need to put time into what tech trends am I pursuing? What kind of courses am I teaching? If Twitch is not the best avenue, why even try to make co-working streams? I think number 3 makes the most sense. Yeah, so the con here is I may not be motivated to work off stream. And maybe that's not the case. So it's worth trying. And then I think the other things could be sometimes I want input on things as I'm working. And having the stream and having that time to chat about things could be good. So I think no matter what, I should probably try both. Conclusions, I should probably try both. Number 1 and number 3 and see where they go. Well, so not everything comes down to effort that goes into it. For example, I can stream to 10 different platforms at once. And it takes almost 0 effort, right? I could just pay Restream and they'll just do it for me. But what does that do for the stream? So how do I read 10 different platforms chats at once? I probably don't. So some platforms aren't necessarily flourishing and it might actually hurt in some ways. So for example, streaming to YouTube, it pollutes the YouTube video feed and it's with content that people might not want to watch. So maybe they unsubscribe. Anyway, co-working is the same general thing. It's 0 effort once you get it set up. But now what happens when the people who used to like your streams are like, oh, it's a co-working stream, I don't want to see this. And they think it's happening enough where they're just like, I'll just unfollow this person. I think there's a bigger issue if you cannot work when not streaming, and Twitch is not the best platform for growing. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that not working when not streaming part is pretty easy to address. It's like, get some discipline. Is Focus with Me more popular? Can you make those streams only on YouTube? I could, yeah. I would say multi-streams per day. Proposal 1, and then list out all the things you need help. Second stream on the day. You discuss those things you want help on. Oh, I see what you're saying. But if it's co-working, then I can just ask during the non-focus time. I guess what I was talking about is proposal 3 is when I can't ask questions because I'm just not streaming. I won't unfollow, but I won't watch. Has nothing to do with you. Oh, I totally understand. By the way, this is why I ask. I want people to be honest about this stuff. I'm very honest about how I watch people on YouTube and Twitch. And it's like I watch for a very specific reason most of the time. And I've mentioned this before. When it comes to gaming, I want to watch like that gamer play that game. I don't want to watch them play a different game. I don't want to watch them like try a different mode in that game. I just want to watch that specific thing. And if they stop making that content, I'll stop watching, and that's fine. That's like something everyone has to deal with. So yeah, I get it if people don't want to watch this stuff. If it were to lead to you unfollowing or like stopping watching all the rest of the content, yeah, I think that would be a bigger problem, and that's where I wanted to figure out how people feel about this. YouTube is a solution for easier above 300 viewers. What do you mean about that? Because I was going to say, I think from everything I've heard, the interactivity on YouTube is worse than it is on Twitch. Like Twitch is very chat focused. The streamers interact with chat. There are like tools for interacting with it. There's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of nice features and cool stuff that they do. And I don't know if YouTube has as much of that. Yeah, Rami just did the body doubling thing and learned about how it feels. Almost went to YouTube. Great YouTube hour-long videos, walks through building something that he has quite a bit of expertise in, like a parser or small compiler. Videos are always a cut down from one or two. Almost always a cut down from one or two streams. When you say cut down, do you mean it's edited down content, or do you mean it's lower quality? I can understand it kind of either way. Codex, have you tried this before? Because I mean, I think this does generally work. This is the whole point of body doubling, is you're less likely to deviate from it if you are there with somebody else. And it's like intended as a tool for people with ADHD, which I'm guessing they suffer the most from going and wanting to do other things. And what'd you just say to me? Thanks for subbing. Do your talks, rants, venting, and coding. So seeing co-working streams like, hey, yeah. Yeah, well, and some of this is it's partially necessity of having to do more tasks and not having the time to do it unless I take it for my personal time, which I don't mind doing once in a while, you know, like once a month, let's say, but I don't want to have it be a weekly thing. You can do this co-working thing on Discord, then people can share their own screens, like study with me content. Yes, so that would be like a subset of proposal 3. Proposal 3B would be just have everyone share or everyone hang out in Discord. There's probably like a proposal 4, which would be like stream the body doubling. Like many people can join in somehow. I don't know how. Yeah. Yeah, very low chat activity on YouTube. Twitch is for community, YouTube is for lurkers. Yeah, and I wonder how much is just what people are expecting out of YouTube. Like, I don't know, I don't have any numbers opened up right now, but I don't know how many people are watching on YouTube who wouldn't be watching on Twitch or who are discovering the stream through YouTube. I don't know what the capabilities are of discovering streams on YouTube. I have not looked a lot into that. And it's not like I have a bunch of subscribers on YouTube, so this stream is probably not going out to a lot of people there. Taking one might be 3 years. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, just prune down the content. Yeah. Mentioned that only doing Twitch can get you to 300 viewers, but if you want more YouTube content. Oh, I see. Got you, Faceless Voice. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. And I think part of it too has to do with what kind of content am I working on? So things I've done in the past, web dev, game dev, infrastructure stuff, and I don't know, some like miscellaneous. Infrastructure stuff I think has like the least people interested. Game dev probably had the most. Web dev is sort of in the middle, I'd say, and MISC is all just all over the place. It all depends on what I'm doing. Yeah. Like I think some of the most popular content I did was for Minecraft plugins. And I mean, it's the kind of thing where imagine if I were just a Minecraft developer or something. Who knows? Maybe that's like, if I were just going for viewers, that would be the best thing to do. Have Adam Works. Yeah, a second channel that just has something like that could be kind of interesting. If I were to do that on Twitch, let's say there's a second channel, then I'm kind of splitting all of the monetization stuff. Like, what are the odds that the second channel gets to be a partner? What if people want to subscribe to one so they don't get ads and they're like, oh, I do get ads on the other one. I'm not going to subscribe on both. I mean, yeah, it's all generally programming. That you can evolve the channel so it can be hosted by other people. There are channels like Extra Life that started by one lady streaming, but then she brought in friends to either co-stream and now just host the channel entirely. Yeah, so that is something that's a very interesting idea. This particular thing that you mentioned, though, is there's some amount of experimentation with just this and then kind of seeing what works and running with it. And this plays into some larger stuff, and this is why we're going to be talking about this for probably at least another couple hours, because I have a lot of thoughts here. What is the content I'm streaming eventually anyway? And just like how Steven mentioned this bit about hosting, I kind of want to get to the point where I sort of want to develop less and manage more. And I'll put this in quotes, I guess, but more like lead a project or coordinate things or like get communities together, something like that. I don't know. And it's not that I don't like coding, and I want to do a lot of coding tasks still. I just don't think I want that to be like 100% of the time. Then you're still net neutral. Yes, you would be net neutral, but my point I think was more so that people might feel like there's a diluted value proposal by subscribing, so you'd get fewer subscriptions. Long form videos on very niche won't have tons of view time. Long form videos are very niche. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what the streams would be, long form videos, and I think they would be niche, but I think that I still plan on making weekly YouTube videos just for YouTube. So if you look at the last however much, like 6 weeks maybe, I don't know, not even popular. How do I search? Wait, what? There's no way to filter. Well, on my own channel, I can filter this, I guess. I'm logged in as the wrong account right now. But anyway, I wanted to filter out the mentoring stuff because that's going to go on a separate channel. But the mini PC thing, then 7 days before that, Project Showcase, then 7 days before that, Obsidian, 7 days before that, focusing on Tenet System, and keep going back. And it's like, these are videos that I spend pretty much the whole day making. Mainly stream on their game info website yeah. Yeah, I can't comment on that. I don't know how that works. Also, hey Minachi, I don't know if I said hi. Love the videos you've been posting. Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm happy with that content. I think it's going well. I think that, can I show you this? Is this public? No, it's not public. Okay, well, I have a note on, it's just called videos to make. And a while ago, I had like 6 or 7 of them, and I just asked people to rank them. I've done all of the top 6 to 7, or top 6 of the 7, something like that. I just have not done one of them. And the one that was at the bottom was a keyboard video, which to be honest, I'll probably still do, even though it was the least ranked video. But yeah, eventually I'm going to run out of ideas. And this is something I find fascinating about content creation, is that you get into it, you have a focus, you have probably some passion about it. And what happens after 5 or 10 years when you've probably produced all of the content you want to produce? And I think that's why we're seeing an exodus of a lot of YouTubers, because the people who've seen success at it have been able to do anything they've wanted to do now. It's like, let's say I wanted to make a multiplayer game that, you know, whatever, tick a bunch of boxes on these things, RPG and it's battle royale and whatever else. If I am developing for 30 years, I'll probably have done that at some point. And at least with games are large enough projects where you probably can't knock out all the games you want to make. But with content, it's like, if you're making a video once a week, 50 videos a year, you're probably going to run out of stuff to say at some point. Then LSRP, good morning. Thank you for subbing. I do wonder if you have a once a week co-working stream that's consistently on a particular day, would you end up building up a secondary set of viewers who tune in for that stream in particular? Yeah, so it's one of the things I kind of want to try. And I think we would need to do this enough times to see. Probably need to do this enough times to see where it goes and how it can be improved. This is part of embracing failure. Now you react to old videos. Yeah. Quite the commentary of YouTubers on YouTubers. Do you have people on the coding content space that you look up to? What are they up to? I don't follow a lot of people in coding or software and game dev, I guess. And the ones I kind of stay up to date with, I just like their personalities generally. It's not even that I necessarily like watching the content. And I hope that doesn't sound bad, but it's like there are lots of people in the channel I think are great people. But when I go to relax, or I go to, well, pretty much just relax, I guess. I guess I'm never really seeking out the content. I'm just kind of listening to them. So I don't know if that really answers the question. Yeah, fly away hanging from a helicopter. Man, if only. I definitely watch people for their personalities. I don't even program. Yeah, yeah. And I think that's where having some kind of commentary is good as I'm programming, to at least make it a little bit more approachable. And that's where I think the co-working streams might be. I don't know how they'll go. I need to just book one. Maybe we'll just try it tomorrow. So, and I'll write all my conclusions here. Need to try a co-working stream again. need to carve out time for the tasks that aren't getting done. Probably need to try taking a morning or afternoon off for those. It didn't work for making YouTube videos, but maybe it'll work for post-stream tasks. All right. Probably need to do 2 to 3 of these in order to figure out how people feel. Embrace failure and improve. By the way, this embrace failure thing harkens back to the tenet that I wrote on this. It's not like recognize that you're a failure or something like that. It's not a negative thing. It's more like the first couple times you do something, it's not going to go great. So don't expect it to go great and just learn and get better at it. And if after a few times you've gotten good at it and you still don't like it, then okay, fine, you can drop it. But don't drop things just because you fail. So that's what that means. And that's just my shorthand for it. I think short video series on various topics would do well. For example, when you're working on Botland, you use REST. I know nothing about REST or how to use it. Yeah, I really want to do that sort of thing more, in my mind, almost like tutorial content. And then what you're talking about, 5 to 10 videos would probably be more like a course. And I think it would be cool to do that stuff too. And so the next one that I want to make, and I've talked about this a bunch, but it's the mega course. It's on organization. It's probably going to be like $50. It's going to talk about everything from notes to emails to meetings to calendars to any number of things that you can think of that fall into organization. And I'm going to try to do this in March. My wife is going to be traveling, and so I'm going to have more time to myself. And I don't want to just go full throttle on work stuff, but I think it's the best time to make this course. Being a generalist would probably bring less people. Logically, you'd think people, the opposite would be happening. So this brings us to another discussion topic that you just mentioned here. Finding a niche. So I have this written down, which is how does game dev fit into Adam Learns as a whole? I want to do it. I don't know. The branding doesn't really make sense. I'm not even sure the branding of Adam Learns makes sense unless I'm doing the learn stuff so I can teach it kind of content. Like, I don't want to preclude myself from being able to make these bigger projects, and especially games. Like, I love making games. I think it's a lot of fun. I think you can learn a lot. And I think making a game so that it becomes a product would be confusing for this name that I'm using. And maybe this is time to go back to Adam Lee Rands. The video idea, Copilot. Yeah, I'll write that down. This is exactly the kind of stuff. I am happy to take suggestions. Yeah, Adam makes big bucks. All right, yeah. Gaming is right for learning stuff, learn new data structures, design patterns, programming techniques. I 100% agree. I think what I'm talking about though is like game dev to make a product doesn't fit into the branding of learning, because your goal then is the product and you happen to be learning along the way. But in that sense, you happen to be learning every time you're doing anything. So it's just more of a branding thing. Yeah, nano transactions. I'll finally do them. Yeah, so just thinking about this out loud, I don't think it does really fit in as much, but I don't think it's worth rebranding the whole channel. I don't think it's worth rebranding. Sometimes I'll learn stuff and do the old style content. Sometimes I'll make a game and it'll take 18 months. I watch streams, get updates on the latest news. I find someone that gets that information for me and reads stuff. Primeagen is a good example. Yeah, and that is certainly a way of branding yourself. I think Primeagen has branded himself as, that's the kind of content I make, that's what you can expect, and when you come here, that's what you get. And I don't know what you'd even consider the branding to be on my channel at this point. If you just look at the non-mentoring videos, like it's like random tech stuff. I talk about a mini PC. I ran a code jam. I talk about my note taking software. I talk about how I manage my own principles. There's a Visual Studio Code one. And I think some people like this, but how do you know what to expect when you come to the channel? And maybe that's cohesive enough. Maybe people have their expectations set correctly. Not necessarily a new one, could be an upgrade. Onboarding, learning, making, chat, participating, writing code. Okay, so there's another thing that I want to talk about here. I like the idea, but what does a 6-hour stream look like? So for example, starting the project would be a lot of planning, getting people to sign up, I guess, maybe starting writing foundational code. So totally all this would work. Then what? What am I doing? And I don't have an answer to this. And that's where I just haven't kind of done this. Oh, Andreas, sorry, I missed that. There are a few game devs already on Twitch. Maybe it makes sense to talk to them about their experience. I have talked to them about their experience with some of this stuff. I think the general sentiment, at least, is Twitch is not great for growth for game devs. And I think that's the general sentiment. As far as releasing products, I think most people are branded for releasing games or for kind of a generic thing. So like Windy Beard Games has games right in the name, right? If you look at Lana, she's just got a name. It's not a game thing. It's not a learning thing. So I think what I was talking about was like, I have Adam Learns Live. And if I were like, hey, I'm making games on here, you'd be like, why'd you name yourself Adam Learns Live? I think that's sort of what I was talking about. So yeah, let me see. Professor, if you have some idea about this, I'm certainly curious to hear. Because this is one of the things I keep kind of struggling with. I said it myself that I do mostly development. And if I want to do less, then what takes its place? Yeah, how to make a game. I mean, I think there is a good amount of content you can do there. And certainly people have had successful channels just saying, hey, I'm doing Unity YouTube tutorials or Unreal tutorials or Godot. How about something more generic like Adam123? Yeah, but what if the numbers were a little different? Like 1 to 3, something, something, something. Where is this I want to code less coming from? I think that's a really good question. And I don't think it's something I've actually really answered. So let me answer this. I think it's hard to code day in and day out on various projects while streaming. And I think this is generally what it comes down to. Like I said, I like coding. I like streaming. But I eventually like hit a sort of limit with it. Can read or explore topics in technical books. Don't know how legal it is to read a book on stream. Yeah, that I have tried to avoid. Anything that requires me using a non-public resource or using someone else's copyrighted public resource, like a YouTube video. So broadcasting rights are not typically the same as consumption rights. And like in the past, I've asked for permission to watch a YouTube video on stream. And sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. And then, yeah, I'm more than happy to stream myself going through a YouTube video. And I think that content it can be good content. Am I familiar with Destiny? I know vaguely about Destiny. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with their content. Beginner tutorial channels are crabs of YouTube content creation? Are you talking about like the cancerization of every YouTuber will eventually evolve into a crab? Teaching while you code, more like a teacher than a dev speech? Yeah, but then, okay, so let's come up with a hypothetical. So hypothetical, I start, what do we say? Textbook compiler, a program for turning small ideas into entire textbooks. It's open source, and I get 4 people to work on it. So now month number 1, I set up the project. We have a GitHub. The workers all know what they're doing. And I set up some code. Month number 2, am I pair programming with like worker number 1 and worker number 2? Am I Am I broadcasting myself having meetings with people? What am I doing? What comes to mind for open source project for a streamer would be something like WordPress, an open source tool that helps you make websites or anything, so people and you yourself can use it for other things. So a lot of what I've done have been sort of like half open source. So if you look at Jump Royale, there's no license saying other people can use this, and yet the code's all there. People have submitted PRs. We have contributors. And so I could make software that will benefit other people in addition to benefiting me. And Abbott could have been that software, for example. We wrote bot software here. It was only really intended for me. And so I could do that. I don't have a problem with that. But then still, what does like the day-to-day look like, I guess? Please just choose a long-term project to stream, interact with chat a bunch about day-to-day stuff, tech, programming, whatever. Project should be the background when you have as much knowledge on certain topics as you do. Okay, this is something that I have actually explicitly tried to avoid. Whoops. So I'm staying away from long-term projects for now so that I can mix it up. I want to test things out for 2024. And I'm not saying that your idea is a bad idea. I think it's a good idea. I think being able to talk about things and maybe that's what I do. Maybe another conclusion is just mix in more talking about stuff content. Like what if instead of co-working is like X minutes on, Y minutes off? What if I just do working? I don't know why I put it quotes. I just do working where it's X minutes on and then like a question mark number of minutes where I talk about stuff. I don't know. This is actually something I've noticed though, is that when I'm developing, I get into a groove and then eventually like chat will wax and wane. And whenever I'm in the groove, there's very little chat activity because I have made it so that this stream is as interactive as possible. And then I try to read everybody's messages. So if I'm not reading your messages or if there's nothing much to talk about other than like, hey, what are you doing? Or, you know, what is that line of code? Then yeah, chat kind of dies down. So what if we kind of pulled it back up? Like the streamer that made the chat that streamers use for YouTube. I'm not sure what you mean about that. I think you might just mean a chat overlay, something like that. I'm not positive. You can let the viewers and your own interest drive the niche. You like doing managing or organizing, and the viewers tend to enjoy X. Maybe produce that sort of content, at least until you grow tired of it. I just don't know what that content looks like, but that's I guess what I'm talking about here. So again, let's say I worked for Google again, and they said stream whatever you like, and I'm like, okay, I'll stream my normal workday. Well, my normal workday back at Google was like some amount of dev, some amount of meetings, some amount of whatever else. Just picture another thing here. I don't currently have anything other than the dev part. I'm trying to figure out what the other stuff looks like. And I don't know. Well, I guess I do have something else right now. Yeah, I guess I have dev, mentoring. Is that it? I think that's it. I think it's just mentoring. Like, do people enjoy the mentoring content? Because I think that's a good starting point to ask. Chat generally dies during that time. The views are less on YouTube, although that's a branding problem, and I'm making a new YouTube channel. And then I think the people who kind of stay are people who are enjoying it, and it's not clear that they're there and they're enjoying it. Yeah, I hope I said all that right. Yeah, how the beginner's content is essentially what's popular. So if you want to get successful, you only produce beginner-oriented content. Very interesting, sure, man. I definitely want to read this. Yeah, I want to write this down because I can totally see that happening, because I even said this the other day. I'm like, wow, tutorials do really well. And there's a good way of breaking into YouTube by just making tutorials. But yeah, then what happens when you branded yourself as I'm the tutorial channel? Oh, this is so difficult. It's fun to think about. And I definitely want to come up with a direction here. And I like that we're talking about this, and I really appreciate all the input, chat. There's a lot to chew on. Sometimes it's stand-ups live on Twitch. Pretty fun. Yeah, I think those could be kind of cool. I just don't think they'd be a mainstay form of content. Like, okay, one of my mentees, Peter, you might have heard, has like 40 hours of meetings per week. That's a slight exaggeration. But like, would you want to watch a stream that is 40 hours of meetings per week? Like, probably not. You need to know all the context. You'd expect to be involved. So it's not just like, oh, hey, how are we moving forward on this project? You'd have to look at the camera and be like, so that you know, this project got delayed last month, and here's what it's about, and here are the stakeholders in it, and all this other stuff. You enjoy the mentoring sessions too, Andreas? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I want to keep doing those. I think we need to mix in another form of content at some point. I need to figure out what that is exactly. All right, anyway, let me catch up. Hey, Mamba. Something where you program bots? You know what I thought of making, actually? World of Botland. It's just a stupid name, but it cracks me up. And it'd be some like RPG-based Botland, or Botland-based RPG, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, it's, yeah. Might be seeing a difference in what your current audience expects and what you're trying to move to. My honest suggestion would be to find someone that's already successful in the new model you expect to do and copy it. I've always steered away from that, though. Maybe that's a fault of mine, but I don't like seeing what has already worked. I like exploring that and trying to figure it out for myself. And I think that's just one part, though. Okay, so that can be considered a fault. Let's just file that away for now. The second problem is I don't know what it is I want to do. So it's not even possible for me to find someone who's done that thing. And I've written this before, but one of my inspirations has been Reggie Watts. Reggie Watts is a comedian / musician, and he did this thing a while ago where he did improv musical comedy shows, and I've never seen anything like it. And the reason I find that so inspirational, he basically laser focused what he did for that amount of time to something that perfectly matched him. And I don't think anyone else could really do this, or if they could, they'd just be copying him and you'd know it. So yeah, I want to find my like Reggie Watts setup. And I think I have a somewhat unique set of skills. Maybe not. Maybe I'm giving myself too much credit. And that if I were to just do development, it's not fully exercising those skills. And if I were to just do, let's say, like mentoring, it's not fully exercising those. I think there are a lot of like aspects I could be good at. And I need to figure out what is the confluence of all those things. Retired Android, thank you for subbing. It sounds like you're trying to create a hybrid of just chatting and something else that's more in line with the standard job. It does kind of sound like that, right? And this is why I want to have these conversations, because it's not always clear to me what it is I'm kind of steering toward. But yeah, this is an important thing. I'm going to write this down too. I hope I also got, no, I didn't. I'm going to write some like chat messages to chew on. So there's this one. There is Must Go Busto's message that I liked. This. Why did that copy with Prime Gaming? Thought I wrote a thing that removed that. Oh, maybe it was just timestamps. All right, let me catch up on some of this stuff. Propose your insight in open source projects for members of the community. Subject is let's help XXX on this. That way, new projects all the time. Yeah, I think still need to figure out collaborations. Fred Armisen drumming comedy was of similar quality. I saw that. I felt like it was too meta for me or something, but I get what you're saying. Yeah. And yeah, the point is that someone found their niche, and I need to figure out what is my niche that I also like doing. So still need to figure out collaborations. People want this content and I want this content, and I just don't know what exactly to do or how to do it. Maybe we should talk about that. Did I already have this? Yeah, community stuff. What do collaborations look like? Helping people on their projects, digging into open source stuff, etc. Yeah. Okay, let me finish looking at this. What if you made one stream a week, like a mini lesson or lecture on something you're already knowledgeable about? Okay, I think it's a pretty good idea. I will write that down. This is sort of what I try to make my YouTube videos into. Like if you look at the last one that I made, I'll type this into chat for those who haven't seen it, but it was on a mini PC. So I bought a mini PC. I've been using it. What led to me using it? What do I like about it? That's what that video is about. And that's just there now. So yeah, I think doing that for YouTube makes sense. I have not thought about doing that for a live stream. That could definitely be interesting. Yeah. I should definitely try that. Try this for a stream. Say, let's talk about note taking, or let's talk about editors or something. Yeah, interesting. Botland days were good. I just think, I'm guessing Adam Learns was too early. Now look at how big the software category is. It would have 1K viewers if you're building Botland. No hate. I love the stream. No, I understand the no hate part. I think, yeah, maybe you're saying it wasn't Adam Learns too early, just that I was too early there. I don't think Botland would have gotten me to 1,000 viewers. And I think that's kind of the point I was trying to make. And I use Lana Lux as an example for this. She's doing very hard work on her game strain. She streams for something like 1,000 hours per day. And no, really though, she does stream for a lot of time. And I think her growth on the platform is sort of a model for what the growth could be if I would have stayed working on Botland. And so, yeah, I think we would have hit the same general numbers and not gone to like 1,000 or something, unless I had some outside influence with, you know, YouTube Shorts or something. And switch when they're not actually programming. Interesting. Yeah. Heard Zoom recordings do really well on YouTube because people use them to pretend they're working. I think it's expected for chat to be slow when it's one of the rules for both people on stream to ignore chat. Yep, I agree. I agree completely. Yeah. And I think it is more like a podcast. Put Adam into people's dreams. To be honest, okay, this is another thing that I've struggled with myself, is sort of mobilizing viewers. So there's no reason, there's all this social media potential that's untapped. Like, I only post my video on YouTube and share it here on Twitch. And so as of late, I just signed up for LinkedIn. I don't like the site, but I'm going to use it anyway. And I'm going to start posting some videos there. But that's it. I'm not using Reddit. I'm not using Instagram. I'm not using TikTok. And there's no reason that I have to necessarily be the one to do this. But that's where my problem came in. I've never really mobilized viewers. I've never been like, oh, hey, points to people who can get above 100 upvotes on Reddit for one of my videos. That would be really helpful for me. And yeah, I've just never done that. And I probably need to do that somehow. And I don't know how to do that and not seem like a scumbag. So any ideas would be great. Hey, Marielle. Good to see you too. And hey, yo. Are you sprinkling a few separate streams, or you're just experimenting with new tech? Doesn't have to be new. I think that'd be interesting. I've done this sort of thing before, and I think this will still happen quite a lot. So, and it's not always new tech because it's new to the tech world. It could be new to me. So like this Godot multiplayer stuff is me just tinkering around with technology, and we'll eventually probably make something, and I think it'll be pretty cool. I'm really happy with this content so far. And I think I'm also really happy with how much I've learned. But yes, there is actual like new stuff, new stuff. So back when Bun was new, maybe I could have tried that, for example. Hey, Wes. Been a few years, but I last followed your start into big tech 6 months after you. Just hit 3 years at AWS. Wow, yeah. Well, welcome back. I have only been back since December 4th. And I see, okay, I need to catch up on chat. But Spurtman, Ojun, thank you both for subbing. Let me scroll down. Do you have advice on how to deal with projects? All high level? I need some ideas on how to tackle a project. Okay, ping me on Discord about this because I don't want to sidetrack myself too much right now. But if you take a look at the CodeJam videos on YouTube, I'll just link in YouTube. That was not the command. If you look at the CodeJam videos on YouTube, I think that's a great way of seeing how other people tackle this. The showcase one is the one I'm talking about. What also seems to work seems to be reaction streams and videos, especially since you have a lot of knowledge in various tech-related topics. It also seems to be very easily edited for YouTube. This is also content I've been explicitly avoiding. And I don't know. I've been avoiding this. I don't know what I would add. I feel that it's sort of a fallback rather than a passion. Also, I generally don't have opinions on stuff unless I've tried it out. I try to be somewhat safe about what I say in that sense. Like, I think, I don't know, if you were to ask me, I don't know. This is on my mind. It's just not something I think I want to steer toward. Perhaps you need to just start off some 1 week project and then leave it to the community to develop what they want. Then do merging of changes and planning on a Friday, and then do recaps and basically be release notes. Yeah, so that would be good. The issue that I've had with all this stuff, I keep trying to paste without formatting, but this is VS Code. The issue that I have all this stuff with this is like what happens on stream if people are coding throughout the week. Then I'm just waiting for PR day, right? And by the way, that could be fine if I have enough of these sorts of projects. And maybe that's what this becomes. Maybe this becomes like a segmented tech show. Hey, Stian, this is my first time seeing your channel. Your mini PC video was suggested. I always check out a channel before I watch. Can't tell what your channel is about, but this stream's captivating. Well, this particular stream, thank you, by the way, is just me talking about what's going to happen with the stream and YouTube in general. The what is my channel is about, I did record a very quick video about that. That's right. No, not there. Where is it? What this channel is about. So I will paste this in to YouTube. Okay, hopefully that video made it there because I'm using a bunch of weird tooling. Yeah, so that's an idea that I kind of want to also slot away for later. Let's write this here. What if the what am I doing when it comes to managing question was that it's just PR day and some, what is it, infrequent content here and there, just like Jump Royale. I start some number of projects and let me copy what Caleb had said here, and that way I'm at least giving them some credit for this. Okay, so yeah, I start some number of projects and they each fill like 2 to 3 hours per week of content. There isn't a need, yeah. So in other words, the eureka moment is that they don't need to fill 20 hours of time. There is no single mainstay, or there would not be a single mainstay. Yeah, I am live on YouTube. Yep. Maybe. Gladly have you as a general. Maybe don't specialize at all until you find your groove. Instead, just focus on some metrics. Yep. I think this is another good thing. And this is what I should probably, this is the whole point of Mix It Up and why I'm avoiding the long-term projects. Wait, we know you aren't a scumbag, but then there's a cap at the end. What could this mean? All right. It'd be fun to see you working on creating a little rhythm game. I think that could be a fun project to do at some point. Yeah. Have you ever used the Hugging Face Transformer API to create apps or games powered by AI models? Now that these models are quite small, fast, and can be hosted locally. No, I haven't. I think we can look into that at some point. It might be neat to make a game out of that sort of thing. Consider this for a content segment. So I really should take a break pretty soon. I see considering open source stream topics. What do you mean by that? Showcasing specific projects, how to best contribute, getting more excited about open source since I've always felt I couldn't make time with full-time work. So by the way, let me make this a little bit more visible on stream. Why can I not? Oh my God, there's like a 1 pixel boundary that you can use to drag this window. There we go. I was going to move this up here so that people could actually kind of see what's being said. What I mean by open source stream topics was I made a game called Jump Royale, and that game is in this repo. And I made this just as a way of taking breaks on stream and not having chat just be totally dead during that time. Then a few people from the community started contributing to it. And so essentially now this is like an open source endeavor. So what if I started a project with the sole purpose of benefiting the community somehow? Maybe someone's like, hey, I'd always like I want to have a utility to do X. And I'm like, you know what, let's just do that. Fine. And I set up a GitHub repo and we lay out some basic coding practices and come up with a direction for the project. And then for me, it essentially turns into, okay, I'm generating content for myself. And for the community, there's this tool that exists. So I might add a feature to it. I might go code review some stuff. And ideally, I'm just kind of managing things. So I think it'd be cool to do that. And let's just take a quick poll right now. Would you be interested in participating in an open source project? Nah, I can't actually say this. Okay, fine, let's do this. Would you be interested in participating in an open source project where Adam just sort of oversees it and adds features occasionally? All right, so see question in VS Code. Yes, no, not sure, depends on the details. Okay. Sorry, this poll is only on Twitch for those watching on YouTube. Heavy, it depends. Yeah. And I would expect that from a bunch of people. I have to send you a token for mine because I have way more credit than I need. Doesn't everyone get that credit though? Like, don't you get it just by signing up? I wouldn't want to use your token. Well, that is very nice of you. Chat gets a hyper spam boost. I guess what I meant by chat is in dead is chat is entertained during breaks was the goal. Oh, wow. That's pretty interesting. Something half decent. Yeah. Planning stream seems popular. These projects start with one of these. Yeah, almost every project I do tends to start with one of these, unless it's just for learning a piece of tech. Seeing how very soon the AI dev content creation will become one of the most sought out content online, perhaps building up experience, becoming the face from now. Yeah. Yeah, I think I am of the mindset that I don't want to specialize. Okay, depends on the details. Can we see all of this? Yeah, yes, 4 people, no, 4 people. Depends is 12. That's totally reasonable. So there would be interest at least, because we wouldn't need 20 people to participate. We would need, 3 or 5 or something. And there'd probably be different projects. Oh, nice, Bram. Yeah, thanks. Or Bram, excuse me. Didn't get any free by signing up. I do have a year to burn through my $25, which I've used. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Like to see ML dev and study also. Yeah, I should probably look into this. People generally want to see ML stuff, and I think I would also benefit from it. I wonder if people are enjoying the Godot thing that I've been doing. Because like I said, I think I've really been enjoying it. And there's a Venn diagram of what I enjoy and what chat enjoys. And ideally, there's something here that is, both. And this is the best content to produce. But I know for sure that I'm in this camp for the Godot stuff. Enjoy learning and everything is learnable. Thanks for the motivation. Well, yeah, thanks for watching, bro. Cost me next to nothing for a development project. Yeah, and I think that's probably how they make their money though, is volume. This is how a lot of any API driven stuff works, is like charge hobbyists almost nothing, and they almost never need much because they're hobbyists at that point. And then when the project gets big, start charging. Okay, I'm gonna take a break only because I feel like it's a good idea to step away and just take a breather. So I will be back in about 5 minutes. For those watching on YouTube, do check out Twitch because the game we're about to play is only playable through Twitch. Follow-up question could be if people are interested in watching you overseeing a few people with low amount of code contributions. Yeah, and there's no real way to know other than to just test it out because I haven't done this too much. So there isn't much experience. But yeah, we'll pick up where we left off here. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again, everybody. Okay, so close the game. I need to go find Twitch, or not Twitch chat, YouTube chat, because it just spammed it way off the screen for me. Let me pop this out. All right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, follow-up question. I guess the closest thing we have to this is actually Jump Royale. So I wonder, are people interested in what's happening with Jump Royale right now? And I guess what's happening right now is I'm doing PR review. It's historically been the hardest content for me to commentate as I'm doing. I've just never been able to do this. If you ever put me in this situation where I am looking at a pull request and just, imagine I didn't really need to go to any of these, I guess. As soon as I get to this, there is no way for me to just talk out loud and say, okay, here's what's going through my head as I'm thinking through this, and here's what I'm checking. I cannot do it. So that is the hardest content for me to interact with people during, and also just to narrate. You enjoy watching them? Roast code. I'm not going to do that. Suggestion: developing things that your audience can interact with while you're developing, like live testing, or how do I... This bothers me so much about YouTube. How do I get rid of this thing? It's covering the message. Yeah, pull-based decisions while developing. I need to find something that'll hide that. So interacting with while I'm developing, I think there are bits of interactivity that I've done on Twitch. And so that game you might have just seen is an example of that. But I don't want to change the stream too much. Like, who is it? I think BeginBot. BeginBot has like a fully controllable stream. And to me, it's a lot of chaos on the stream. And I think it's hard to follow as a viewer. And I think there are some people who really like that vibe. I don't want my stream to become that sort of thing. And so what I used to do is I used to have controllable lights at least. Because, okay, well, the lights aren't as in your face. It's like if I turn red, all of a sudden I'm still talking. And that was it. And so I don't know what would be good points of interactivity. I think live testing is something that we've been kind of doing a little bit with some of the stuff we developed. And yeah, pull-based decisions, I just did through Twitch at least. But yeah, doing it on YouTube too would probably be a little bit harder. Have PR requester come on stream to walk you through the changes. Yeah, that could be done. Yeah. Let me write that. It looks like you cannot unless you block it through ad block. Interesting. How do I zap that thing? I'll do this later. Yeah, I shouldn't do this on stream right now. Although I'm assuming I just click the zapper thing and remove it. Remove the emoji button. What does clicking this even do? Oh my God. Okay. It's just I don't even see people's reactions to this then, I guess. I'm guessing other people see this stuff on stream on YouTube. Oh my God. Remove the emoji button from YouTube's live stream chat. Oh man. All right, well, thank you, Rami. BeginBot used to be great when we were just coding a little bit of stuff, like point reward. Get to be too much for me. Yeah, by the way, I don't want to start sounding like I'm being negative here. I was just talking about kind of stream direction. There is a big spectrum here of no interactivity to full interactivity. And I think that somewhere toward like this hyphen is what I want. or how do I say this? Not chat interactivity. Chat interactivity, I'm more toward this side, I guess, but that'll eventually not become sustainable. I personally enjoy it, but I don't think it's the best content as it's difficult to focus on while talking, as you said, and maybe also doesn't give the attention level expected from a good review. Yeah, and so what I wonder about is what if I didn't need to be the primary maintainer? Like, what if I do reviews just to help and not out of necessity? So in order to do this, I would need an open source project that someone else manages. Like, I don't know how this would work exactly. Like, Adam is the creator of it, maybe, and then like there's a manager, and then there are workers beneath them. And the worker can also be a manager, or the manager can also be a worker. Something like that. Hey, L:'Q, welcome back. Hope you're doing well. What were you thinking there? Help me, chat. This is like a reality show. Contributing by reviewing is something that some projects totally accept and reward. Yeah, you're saying existing projects, right? So I think what I would want is for this to be something that I would have made and then coordinated and could put some thought into. Although I don't know how feasible that'll be. Hey, Ferris. Maybe do a month-long code jam. Oh yeah, okay. So here's another idea. And hey, 715209. Here's another idea that I had. And I only talked to a friend about this on the phone. Where did the discussion go? Yeah, this. What if I jammed more? What if we did one jam per month and our jams just follow certain technologies? So I have my own thoughts on this, but yeah, we just did the code jam and the theme was improving your life. And we had some awesome projects and great participation. And I loved my own project that I did. So yeah, what if we did that more? So currently, the target is maybe like 4 times per year. So once a quarter. And I think this is a good frequency. I think that way jams are novel and I would still probably want to participate in them. I think it could be pretty cool. But yeah, what if we did them 12 times a year? And so yeah, Caleb said, I'd love the 1 jam per month schedule, just a little motivation to put together a small project. Yeah. I would definitely put game jams onto Itch for sure. I mentioned this before, but I'm close friends with the creator of Itch. So I want to support him as much as I can too. Perhaps one of the participants' entries could be an OS project that you take on maintaining. Yeah, that's interesting. What if we used a jam as a precursor to what if this became the project and what people vote on became the winner? It's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I think that could be a good way of finding the open source project that we end up doing. It could still be run by somebody else, and I could just say that I become some kind of contributor. I don't know, and then people sign up for helping on the project. I think that could be pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, Cheap. That's a lot, especially if you want to do interviews, videos about each entry each time. Your YouTube will be spanned by here's 5 random project kind of videos. Yeah, so I think this is the same conclusion I came to, but for a different reason. I don't want to participate in that many jams. I wouldn't mind running them. Probably not 12 per year. Maybe 6 would be the limit. Because yeah, there is overhead, and as you get more participants, it becomes harder and harder to do them. So actually, Dunkey just did a video on YouTube about a game jam that he hosted, and the video he did, he highlighted, I want to say like 8 games maybe, and I don't know how many he got, but given that he's got whatever 7 million subscribers on YouTube, he probably got like hundreds of games. And how do you even figure out which ones to go through at that point? It's like if you have 5 submissions, okay, go through all of them. Don't even be picky about it. If you have 50 submissions, maybe you spend a little bit more time. When you have 500, you need some sort of filtering. And maybe that filtering is your community saying, hey, here are some cool ones. And they filter it down to 50 for you. And of the 50 you play, you highlight 10 on your channel. So yeah, we did not have this issue. I did not have hundreds of participants. We had 8 people and then myself, so 9 people, and that's very doable. That fits into this. Like just do them all. Kind of makes them less important. Yeah. Did I get that specific keyboard because of carpal tunnel? No, I got it just thinking that maybe someday I'll have a problem, so let's try it out. And now I just really like the keyboard. Had a good break on my days off. I totally did. Yeah, Minkler. Vacation helps so much. Yeah, split it to other reviewers. Yeah. Okay, so I think this is an interesting idea. I do think that the next jam is something I want to do a game jam for. We did the code jam. I made a video about it. Guess this is all done. Yeah. All right, where was didn't I write something here about like, yeah, consider when the game jam would happen, April or after June? The first one was all February, right? Yeah, February. So 3 months after that would be May. So yeah, maybe in June would be pretty good. May might be a tough month. Want it to be at least 2 months from the last one. Okay, so conclusion with that is that I don't want to become the jam person, but that could be a way of branding. And actually, I think there is something to be said here. So if anyone out there wants to become a content creator and wants to take my idea here, you could become the jam person and yeah, just do like 12 jams per year. And that's it. Your branding just figures itself out because it's all game jams and code jams, and it's easy to make content because other people are creating it for you. And there you go. If you make $1 million, just give me, like just 10%, just 100K. All right, what other things that I want to discuss here? What if I stream less? So my conclusions were to try some different things out. I will say this, when this number gets to be too large here, this is 12 pages right now, this does start causing me some stress because there are lots of things here that people would say, hey, that's pretty reasonable. Why didn't you do that? Like this, for example, I made a new video and I added it to my course, and everyone who already got the course does not know about it because I didn't tell anybody about it. And like, I need to send an email and I just haven't done that. And that's the kind of thing that I can't show myself doing because I might accidentally leak people's email addresses. But I need to do it and I haven't. And so that's the kind of thing for a co-working stream. Same thing with this, coding the April 1st game. I will say this. Please write this on your calendars. April 1st, show up to this stream. There's going to be a 10-minute segment that will be awesome for me and very confusing for all of you. It's going to be a lot of fun. What time? I don't know the time yet. I just put it on your calendar for now. And I'll have to figure out the time. In fact, I should probably advertise that sometime in March. Make sure to advertise exactly when this happens. Probably like an hour into my stream. Yeah. I had this idea months ago, and just wait until you see it. It is, like I said, your reaction is going to be, why was he even advertising this? Like, what's his problem? Going to be another hacking tutorial? No. Although I did write the script for a hacking tutorial. I just never ended up producing it. All right, so what other conversations? Possibly a tournament jam where you somehow let code from submissions compete against each other, multiple rounds on different days. People can improve their code before the next round. That almost sounds like Botland, to be honest. Maybe I'm not understanding completely how you'd be competing, but it sounds like Botland. Like there'd have to be some game where it's clear how you get points. Adam, no. What? The hacking tutorial or whatever? Okay, what other discussion topics did I have here? Because I want to make sure that I have gone through them. So yeah, I do want to try co-working. I kind of want to try this tomorrow to start getting through some of these things that I have here. And then Friday afternoon, I can't stream. By the way, I'm very excited about this. I really appreciate that people are bearing with me for this. I want to find something I can do and just kind of like have an idea and move forward. One of the things that I think I'm always kind of jealous of people who specialize in things. For those of you who've played any Smash Bros game, even the original had something like 14 characters, and now they're up to, I don't know, like 80 plus in Ultimate. I could never play just one character. I was always like, oh, someone just beat me. I need to play that character now, and I need to learn that. And so I learned a bunch of them, and I was never like ultra competitive at Smash. I was pretty competitive. But I was always jealous of the people who were like, I'm just gonna learn everything, the frame data for my entire character, every like the best situations. And I feel like I'm in that same situation in content creation. I'm like, I want to be all over the place. And I'm like, wow, it sure would be nice if I only did game dev or something like that. I think it's a case of the grass is always greener, though. I think there's always a way to find a way to make what you're doing work. Am I also an altaholic? And while yeah, wow, yes, I am. Yeah, very good at being a one-trick pony for a specific character and mastering that. Yeah, and this is the game model powered where you draw and the model guesses the drawing. Is this something I can load up over here? Like a shovel or a laptop, and the algorithm will guess in real time. It's a cat. It's still a cat. Wow, it's really hard to drag and you can't undo. Drag, yeah. Cat. Now, 99% confident it's a cat, but it could be a tooth. Got scared when I read the title of the stream. I thought it was another it's not working out kind of thing. Well, in a sense, it kind of is, I guess. And the things that aren't working out is like, I still haven't found my mainstay content, and I have too much I need to do off stream. So here I would say are the two big problems, but it's not, yeah, it's not like I'm going to be quitting streaming or something like that. uBlock Origin, you can zap out the emoji thing. Yeah, I'm going to almost certainly do that. Yeah. This is about YouTube chat. I'm 12 minutes behind. No, it's fine. All right. So yeah, I want to try co-working. I think maybe we plan that for tomorrow. Yeah. So what is this? Oh, wait, this is kind of well, let's talk about this idea. I did not find your recent Godot and Twitch bot content entertaining to watch. It's cool, but I leave after like 10 minutes. You already did bots and Godot content before. I do like the interview content you've been doing. You mean mentoring, Pickle? Because I haven't really done interviewing. I used to watch your entire streams when you were doing educational streams in the general popular tech space like Firebase and LeetCode. Maybe the reason I don't like your recent content is you're working on technologies I'll never use. Yeah, so that is perhaps one of them. The other thing is, I will say this. I think bots are generally boring unless they're in botland. Then they're very interesting. But I think bots are boring. And I think the Godot stuff has been dry because it's very learning heavy and not like game heavy. And so this, I 100% do not blame anybody on. I probably wouldn't even want to watch this. The Godot stuff, I think, is going to get better, but also I kind of just want to do it. So we'll see that. And then I think for future content, I think we'll come up with something that people will generally like parts of it. But Pickle, I do want to ask you that question though. So the question is, did you mean mentoring, or are you talking about something else? Because I do want to at least understand where you're coming from. Maybe not finding main content isn't a problem since you like doing a lot of different things. But okay, I do. But then my main content could be like variety dev in that case. But what I'm saying is I don't know that that's the best idea for me because I think this feels like a grind. And I think I want passion to fuel the development projects that I have. And I'd like the grind to be about other parts, maybe. Many new developers choose that as their first project. Yeah, I agree. And I did it out of necessity. Like I wanted the bot to be customized to what I do and have an architecture I fully understand and can go modify. Can we have a game similar to that where every time you start the game, you spin up a browser-based editor for each participant, they code to win the game? You mean we make the game, or we just use that existing site? Because I think making that would be pretty tough, but just using the site wouldn't be as tough. But then I also don't know how, like, competitive coding is a very niche thing. We make a game. Oh, wait, you're not okay. Wait. I misunderstood what you're saying. I thought you were saying make a platform for making games that compete against each other. You're saying just pick a game, that's the target for everybody. Because this is not a ton of work. Okay, yeah. So, all right, this is I'll share what I said then earlier, which is for the jam, I said, what if everyone had a very specific theme? And I think the general conclusion was it would probably get boring to review submissions because they'd be, 80% the same. A sequel to Botland? A sequel to Botland would probably eventually happen, yeah. You're going to have content like review of latest React, Angular, or even trying out making projects with a stack like that. Yeah, I think that'll probably happen too. I think there are some things that are going to be like everyone has main content and then they have some filler. And filler doesn't mean bad. And so my filler can always be the classic Adam Learns stuff. Tackle a new technology and teach it. This can always happen. So I don't think that'll ever go away. But I don't think I want this to be the mainstay of the channel. Yeah. Only just joined, so not sure if mentioned. Have you considered reading trending articles, etc.? Popular for these types of streams, also good for education, considering your experience and giving your opinion. Yeah, I have considered it. And hi, Gold Blend. I think my general conclusion is I don't want to do that yet. And I think it might transform my content for the worse. And so we talked about this a little bit earlier. Cancerization. Cancerization is a property of nature to steer evolution toward crab-like creatures. Or just outright crabs. And so Spurtman had said there is this same concept in YouTubers become like tutorialists, where tutorials get you a good amount of views. And so you do this and you realize, oh man, I'm growing my channel. This is great. And you make tutorials, and now you're the tutorial channel. And so you have become a crab. And how do you get yourself out of being a crab? And so if I were to do things like, hey, I'm going to read popular articles, I think I need to steer enough of my content toward that. And it would probably do a lot better than my current content. And at that point, I am now a reaction streamer. And I know that I'm probably oversimplifying this, but I'm just worried about it. I just feel like it's a slippery slope. Is this primarily game-focused jams, or is it geared towards specific areas of development, desktop, web, etc.? So I think we're probably going to swap. Also, I hate Total Eclipse. So let me link in this video. I did a code jam just earlier this month, and here is the showcase of the projects. It's carcinization? I thought it was cancerization. Okay, well, anyway, let's just delete the word. This is the important part. Which is, yeah, YouTubers become tutorialists if they kind of steer toward that, or I guess like reaction content creators. So anyway, code jam and game jam, swap code jam and game jam. Occasionally, maybe we do 3 game jams and 1 code jam. I don't know how we're gonna do that exactly. Like 30 minutes per stream, so it negates becoming your meta. That's possible. Yeah, I never considered that. I don't know why I never considered that. All right, I'm gonna write that down. This is why I'm very glad I'm discussing this stuff, because I remember saying this is a true conversation that happened over a decade ago. I said, I'm thirsty. And my friend said, why don't you get some water? And I said, I don't know why I didn't think of that. Sometimes it is a very small change to an idea that makes it more palatable or tackleable. Yeah, you might have thought that once a reactionary, always reactionary. I do kind of think that way. And I do still think this could be a slippery slope because imagine if we say, okay, this is going to be a 30-minute segment. What are the odds it actually sticks to 30 minutes? I have seen streamers say something like, I'm going to get going. And then 1 hour later, they're like, oh, yeah, I have to get going. And I've probably done this myself sometimes. Yeah, get a timer or something. We're having a great conversation. I just cut it off. The other thing too is what happens if this 30 minutes is like, oh, actually, I guess it could be a lead in for the other stuff that can pull people into the content. Yeah, yeah, suddenly 700 viewers. Adam gets mad at stuff. This could lead into other content that I do. Oh, I don't know. World is our oyster though, right? It's just oysters and crabs the whole way down, all sitting on a turtle's back. All right, did we cover that discussion topic? Oh, no, we haven't. Google Docs versus Obsidian. I use Google Docs for the sort of like stream ephemeral stuff. So you actually have access to this document if you go to today.adamlearns.com. And this is shared in real time. Did that not work? I don't understand if that link is even clickable because I can't click it. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, yeah, this document is shared. Obsidian I use for my more durable notes. Those go to notes.adamlearns.com. Actually, a bunch of people have been asking about the mini PC stuff, and I shared this setup. Do I have a link to Abbott on here? No, I should really do that. Yeah. Okay. Think of the mods of this channel, trying to fix segmenting. For what? In the, if I had like 700 viewers? Did that link message out? Oh, that was on YouTube. Sorry. I can link that in here too if you want. YouTube chat doesn't show that link. I wonder why. Like, I'm the streamer, but oh, I'm not. Oh my God, I'm on the wrong account. Oh boy. I just don't know what I'm doing, do I? All right, let's switch accounts. All right, now can I refresh this page? Yeah, this is my personal account I was on, Adam13531. I don't even see the message anymore. Today.adamlearns.com. Did it turn that into a link? Yeah, it did. Secret YouTube channel. It's not secret. That account is cool too. I like the piano. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that account is mostly April Fool's jokes and piano videos. It's a very, very thin slice of videos out there. Oh man, and none of them do all that well. What an account. Nano transactions is amazing. Oh man, I still remember how hard it was to film that. I needed to like I didn't have a proper tripod and I filmed it from my phone, so I needed to set up a stand that like barely balanced my phone on it. Anyway, so what if I only ever streamed scheduled stuff? This is new conversation topic. So right now, I start a stream and I have some dev tasks in mind. And then I eventually end after some number of hours. And we also have mentoring, which is scheduled. So yeah, what if I only streamed when I had scheduled stuff? So mentoring, a dev block, I guess, open source stuff, interviews. And I think it would hurt consistency. So this is just a conversation topic. It's not necessarily like I'm definitely going to lean toward this. We've seen the open source project Bark that allows you to do text to speech, and its related project that allows you to clone voices. No, I haven't. Excuse me. I don't discover a lot of this stuff on my own. I drastically cut down my discovery of all of that when I cut out doom scrolling. So I mentioned this on stream before, and I want to do a video on this, and it's incredibly simple. So if you don't want to watch a video later, just pay attention for the next like 30 seconds. So I have Google Now, right? If you were to scroll, this would just go infinitely, and you'd find more and more and more. And so to stop doom scrolling, I just don't scroll. That's it. I see these two things, and if I don't like them, then I just close this and go to something else. And same thing on YouTube. If I, how do I find this? Yeah, so if I go to the homepage right now and just refresh, for example. Yeah, so here we go. So you can see like 3 pieces of content, right? If you don't like those, too bad. So yeah, I don't tend to discover a lot of open source projects and stuff. Mitch, thank you for resubbing. And on the non-prime too. That's very nice of you. Yeah, so the only streaming scheduled stuff, I don't know how this would work. I need more segments than I'm currently doing. Right now it's just dev and mentoring. So I need more stuff. I guess the stuff is what we've been talking about when it comes to these other messages that were here. I still do need to parse through these. I need to come to a conclusion. Yeah, it's the other thing that's killing me is decision fatigue. So many decisions to make, so many paths I could choose. Which one's the best path? Okay, well, this was just an idea. I don't think this has been very controversial, so let's just delete this, I guess. Yeah. Oh, Smoo and Reformulate. Thank you both for subbing as well. Very kind of you two. Look at all these subs rolling in. Decision wheel for all decisions. You know what Jitspo did, which I thought was pretty cool? They rolled dice to figure out what they should work on. And all the tasks were things that they needed to do. So like writing tests, writing whatever, code, writing music, discussing something, I don't know what. And then they assigned all these a number. So like this is 1 to 4, and this is maybe 5 to 15 or something like that. And this is, 6 to 16 to 19. And maybe this is just a 20. And that's it. Then they rolled a d20. Oh, Total Eclipse. Thank you too for subbing. And Reformulate, gifting a sub. Woo! And all because of Mitch. Happy 16th birth month, Adam's stream. Yeah, we don't count the 3 years I was gone. Yeah, I wrote this down here. I feel like I either stream everything, like the boring and frustrating stuff, or I only try to stream the best stuff. So I had a conversation with a friend, and this friend said something along the lines of, watching you struggle with ESLint was very tough. And thank you too, Steven. Weighting heavily toward writing code there, I see. Yeah. And you can weight it by, changing the ranges, and we're just rolling different dice, I guess. I don't know how many of you remember this. This was maybe like 3 weeks ago, I want to say. I was trying to get ESLint set up before doing the Astro stuff, and it was a nightmare. And same thing with the whole like splitting packages. It was tough. And so this was challenging for me, and my frustration definitely showed. And it's not like I got angry at somebody. I was just frustrated. It's like, why can't this technology just work? And I think we spent a total of like 12 hours on all of this. And so that was painful. And it was painful for me, but I think hearing from a friend of mine, and I'm sure this thought is not unique, that it was tough to watch that stream, or those 2 streams. I think that's important to hear, because I think if I'm ever getting frustrated, it probably means I should be switching to something else. I think this is one of the other reasons that dev sometimes seems like a grind. Like, how do you take a break from writing your bot if you need the bot? Feels like frustration is fun in a bad way. Oh, no, I don't think it was fun for anybody. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. I think it was not fun for viewers, and it was not fun for me. And I think of all the things that I've seen, one of the commonalities in people I watch, if they're annoyed, I generally don't feel good as a viewer. So for example, there's a Hearthstone streamer that I watch who doesn't really play a lot of Hearthstone anymore. And now when he plays, he starts getting salty very quickly. It'll be like turn 3 in the game, and it'll be like, all right, that's it, it's over. We can't win this thing. And I'm like, come on, like I know watching on YouTube that the only reason they would have put this game online is if they won. So for them to start saying, I'm not going to win, it's over, I'm going to lose, it's kind of a kind of off-putting. And so I know that same thing is happening with me. If I'm streaming something and it's frustrating, then yeah, people are going to get annoyed too, or they're going to start feeling bad. And like, I want this to be a generally like a feel good, positive, motivating stream. And that's not easy to achieve if you're frustrated. So, oh, for engagement, I don't think frustration usually leads to engagement. I think things like drama and outrage and hype, I think those things lead to engagement. I think it's still important to show others though, like that's learning, it happens. I think some devs see it as an impossible task. I think it's good to some extent. One of the main things that I've tried to change, this is like probably the most noticeable thing from before, is I'm now taking consistent breaks. So to be clear, the before, I streamed for 5 years before this. And back then I took breaks just to use the bathroom. That's it. So I don't know how many minutes per day I took a break for, but it wasn't very long. And now I'm trying to take longer breaks every hour. And I'm not really sticking to that now. I'm feeling pretty energized and I'm just talking. It's not like I'm developing. But that alone is enough to sometimes give you the space to be able to think about a problem, but not always. And sometimes you need 10 hours or a weekend in order for your brain to just be like, okay, I'm ready to work for you again and not work against you. So I think some of that should be shown. And I think some of it, it's like, okay, it's been an hour of me being frustrated. Maybe we just table this for now. I don't think you should necessarily switch to something else. I think struggling is part of learning. Yeah, so you're kind of agreeing with the clips there, yeah. Few hours / days / sleep can sometimes magically work things out. Yeah, and I've seen that happen before too. And that is one of the most fantastic things about our brains is you have a problem, you think about it, you can't come up with a solution. You go to sleep, you wake up, you're like, oh, there's the solution. That's always wonderful. Very serendipitous. Get reminded of your own struggle. Yeah. I just appreciate when people who code don't just know how things work. Yeah. And people have made that comment a bunch like, oh, now that Adam's struggling with this, I can relate to it. I think someone says something like, oh, being frustrated with Docker. Now there's relatable content. Do you hop between projects when your current project becomes too tedious and frustrating? Not necessarily hopping between projects. I just mean giving yourself some distance. I think for the stream, it probably would equate to hopping between projects though, because it's one thing if you're not streaming and you say, I'll take a 5-hour break. But if I'm 1 hour into a stream and I say that, that just means I go offline, I guess. But maybe it doesn't. Maybe that's where I'm like, okay, we're going to do our segment where we talk about the newest technology or something. I don't know. Adam reacts, even though he said he never would. 5 years. When did you blow up? So again, the timeline of this is 2015 to 2020 was making Botland and starting Adam Learns. And then 2020 to 2023 was working at Google. And then December 4th, 2023 was returning to streaming. So I wouldn't really say any of that was like blowing up. I never made it huge as a streamer. And there's a site called Sully Gnome where you can look at the stats for any streamer across some number of days. So if we go back to like, this might not even work. Okay, yeah. So the average view count since the very first stream, I guess, was 38 viewers. And for some portions of this, it was probably a lot better. Like if we look at 2020, for example, 212 average viewers. I mean, this is nuts to me. Like 164,000 person hours were spent watching my content in the year 2020. And that wasn't even a full year of streaming because I stopped once I got the job. Yeah. Did I miss anything else? Let's see. Yeah, it's time for that. Yeah. I got to take a break pretty soon. I'm going to try to get through chat, which is going to take me probably at least 5 minutes. Being really diligent about putting it down after X minutes. Yeah. And by the way, chat has done a great job at trying to steer me away from this stuff. So if I am being frustrated, like, hey, have you thought about taking a break? And I do appreciate that because I think, at least for my mentality, sometimes it's the only way to snap out of it. Yeah, plenty of times I wanted to quit. Realistically, it just took some time for some things. Oh yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think this is the struggle between learning and streaming. So learning will contain frustrations. It's almost impossible to feel positive about your learning 100% of the time. You'll feel imposter syndrome. You'll feel whatever else. But streaming, you don't need to focus on those topics. Consider becoming a reaction streamer. Please add to document. You leave. I mean, this was proposed in a way that was more tenable for me. Yeah, just had an amazing idea. Did a smooth emoji. Creating tools for famous games like a Dota bot that has a UI hiding the mini map during hero selection. I think for that you need to understand enough about what are the problems that face the gamers face or that these games have. And I don't play enough games where I feel like I have problems. I guess I could just be tackling projects that people propose though. Maybe we try that as a content segment at some point. Who pinned this? Oh, Spurman pinned it. You will feel, why did I need this in my life? For what? Always wanted a Stardew Valley mod, which also acts as a Twitch overlay and shows what's in the inventory community center, but it's not trivial. Yeah, stuff like that would be kind of interesting to do. Okay, let's take a break. So again, for those on YouTube, if you join on Twitch, I'll link this in, you can play. But I'm going to go take a quick break. So let's kick it off. Break, break, break. Did that not work? Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again, everybody. Close the game. All right, so getting the hang of that. Nice. So yeah, I think this idea. Oh, I started to talk about the frustrating stuff. I didn't really talk about the boring stuff. Can we have a do-over? I didn't win. Oh yeah, we'll have a do-over eventually. So streaming boring stuff. I think this is just bound to happen at some point for dev streams. And I don't know how much of it should be avoided. There's this idea of the more you're online, the more you have a chance for people to discover you. And by the way, I could probably do a better job at this. Twitch exposes the, let me see if I can show you this. Let me find it. Twitch exposes a bunch of analytics. Yeah, I can show this. Yeah, okay. So they do this for every stream. They have a roll up and it says how long the stream was. This was right before I left for my vacation, essentially, right? I take Thursday off? Oh, wait, no, this is today. My bad. I thought it only showed completed streams. Yeah, this was right before I left for vacation. And so anyway, follower count is usually a good sign of just like how much do people actually like your stream. But since I don't actually ever ask for follows and I don't acknowledge them in any way, I think people have been less likely to follow than they were like in years past. So follow counts are all kind of low for this: 12, 13, 9, 16, 8. And you might eventually see a higher number like 106. That almost always means I got rated by somebody. And in this case, it was almost certainly Kitboga because the views are way higher than normal. I could probably be encouraging even that more. And these are other little things that I just keep thinking about when it comes to growth. It's like I have the bot now posting content announcements in here. And I've shown this before, but if you go to server settings and roles, you can see the number of people in the live stream notifications role. There are 68 people there. So 68 people have gone to this and clicked this button that they want to see when a stream starts. And that's great. So that's pretty much what following does on Twitch, except for that Twitch is sometimes unreliable when it comes to that. So yeah, I think I need to probably add in like follow announcements or something. Exact same length of stream. Yeah, I ended Thursdays early. Today should be a normal stream now. And then in the afternoon, I'm not totally sure what I'm going to be doing. I think I want to code the new theme for adopbot.land/points. But that should be like 20 minutes of work. You'd have the jump character bounce in some corner for followers. I think I'd probably just show something like I do for subscriptions where it just pops up in the middle of the screen, but have it be a small portion in the corner of the screen. If that's what you're saying too, and it's just the jump character that shows up, yeah, something like that can be done. Yeah. I was thinking of just showing like Calic has followed. Thank you. Something like that. Okay. So what else? Where do we leave off here? Yeah. So the boring stuff. I think it's just a thing. There's no, hang on one sec. There's no definite way to avoid it completely. Have you considered effectiveness of Twitch notification wording? I think Twitch lets you know how many people clicked your notification, so you compare wording. I should take a look at this. Yeah. I generally don't pay too much attention to it because there aren't that many people who are probably going to get it. And then, well, yeah, I don't know how many people are going to get it anyway. Maybe look into this. Plus, there's the Discord notification too. It's something worth considering. This is something, okay, here's just the general kind of high level idea here. There are lots of ideas that rub me the wrong way when I first hear them, and then sort of draw a line in the sand against. So an example here is networking with people. So originally, I saw this as like advertising at people, and it doesn't have to be that way. It can just be talking to people. It can be going to events. It can be just figuring out what other people want and what can you do to help each other, that sort of thing. And so another example here is the sort of like clickbait adjacent psychology. So wording of notifications, titles, ways to present ideas. Why not? Thanks for subbing. And I think this is one of those things that it just struck me as like, why would you do this? Why should you do this? And then slowly over time, you realize the whole if you can't beat them, join them sort of thing. Like there's a reason why people do all of the things that originally rubbed me the wrong way. And so the reactionary content is another thing that was on that list of just something that I thought like, okay, this is low effort. It's uncreative. And now I'm kind of thinking like, well, it can still help even if that's the case. And same thing, there was LinkedIn, and I was just like, this is for superficial people. And now it's, well, it's another advertising route. It sounds like you need to figure out your own goal. Do you want to change what you do or create to grow your audience, or do you want to change how you present or what you create and do? One of those is a streamer, the other is a communicator. I'm not sure if your two messages are related to one another, but this is why I try to keep myself sort of on track with this mission statement that I had. This inspire, learn, make, and have fun. This is what my real goal is. And I think there are some requirements for this. I think there's like a minimum audience size for me to be able to do what I do and have the input that I expect and sort of the fun doing it. And like I said, I think that's probably around like 150 people watching at any given time. And then there's probably also a maximum audience size, and that's probably something like 500 people. Now, this you can end up changing by just interacting less, and then it wouldn't become a requirement that there's a maximum. But yeah, as far as the sort of true goal here was just like do stuff I like and have people to share it with. That's it. And your psychology is never so like single tracked here, right? You are biased by the things that other people like, by the things that other people do. There was an entire book that was written on this called like the power of wanting, mimetic desire. And it's like the only things that you ever have wanted that you didn't see someone else want in the first place are your needs, your biological needs, like air and food. And everything else, the author argued that you saw someone else in some form want that thing. And so it's like, okay, I have these goals, I have this written down, but how much am I influenced by what other people want? And the answer is definitely not zero. I'm influenced by them, so I don't know how much. But yeah, War Angel, thank you for resubbing. Audience size plus plus. It's happening. We can just increment it. Yeah, thumbnail mastery, that was another thing. Most Twitch notifications are essentially not readable because people talk about whatever. I like notifications to clearly say what the stream offers. Do I do that? I don't know how I write my notifications. Seems like ages since I've been on. I know. That's what tiny little changes to my schedule can do. But yeah, Friday and Monday I'd taken off, and I feel like I needed to. So I'm going to try to do that more when I feel like that need is coming back up. Depends on reaction. Love to have basically interactive reviews of stuff. Read through the Python patch notes, or read through the Python patch notes with me, yeah. Yeah, definitely depends. Produce a video rambling about the most popular trends, but a thumbnail with a dramatically shocked face. Bingo. This is, look, this is one of the things, I mentioned this earlier because someone had suggested, hey, why don't you look at what other people do and see who's closest to what you want and maybe see how they got there. And I've generally tried not to do that, but I do think that is one of the most surefire ways of success is just improve a little bit on what someone else has done. And that's how probably like half the businesses in the world were founded on. Hey, there's some product I don't like. Well, I'll make some tiny improvement and I'll make it my own product. And you do that, and yep, turns out there's an audience for that. They also wanted that improvement. And it's no different when it comes to streaming, even when it comes to other creative endeavors. Like when I was learning how to compose music, a lot of times they say, just take the chord structure of a composer you like and make your own melody or make a slightly different harmony or something. And it's this bit at the beginning. It's the yoink and twist that Ludwig talks about. Perhaps you could start a trend of high quality React videos. Means less time spent on rambling and straight to the point. I think there's this like innate desire to just kind of hear other people and be around other people. And I think that cutting it down would not play to that desire as much, but would give you the information faster. And I think what people care, maybe, I think there's different portions. The interest is in hearing an expert talk about something, some amount of drama probably, and probably education as well. I rarely see yours live on Twitch. I usually see them on Discord. I see. Yeah, the ones on Discord, though, are just the title, I suppose. What if you submit projects for you to review or criticize? Only half joking about this. I mean, it'd have to be your own project. I wouldn't be comfortable with someone submitting someone else's code for me to be like, here's how this person can improve. The only way I could do that is if I were purely positive and constructive about things. And that's probably how I would be even if you submitted your own code. So I don't think that would be an issue. Yeah. Okay, so I think we've talked about this discussion topic that I had, which was the stuff about only having scheduled content, what happens about frustrating or boring content. I love an outlet to submit my code and get real feedback on it from someone who's experienced. I can write that down too. I'd like to do code reviews or something. I think the problem is just getting people who have code they can share and are okay with that. So Patootie, you yourself have told me that you have another GitHub that you're not comfortable sharing. So imagine if that becomes a problem for getting onto this code review segment. I guess you could always copy paste your code somewhere else, but yeah, what happens if there's a comment that you didn't expect to have there or something? I don't know. How did it feel to point at the camera for the thumbnail? I just thought it was funny. I'm guessing other people have done that too, but it was just a funny idea to me. Maybe our GitHub repo, maybe create a specific branch. Well, I'll copy the combination of these ideas then here. Yeah. Coolest chord progressions, the ones that never end and never repeat. I think there are some cool chord progressions that repeat. I'm gonna unpin this, by the way. Even if you isolate it enough, just submit a gist. Yeah, I think that would work. And I think I need to understand enough about the project and kind of see the corresponding code. I think submitting a whole repo would definitely be easiest. Okay, so what else do we have here under discussion topics? What if every hour of the stream that we got through, I do want to try for a group project of some sort. I don't know what it would look like. Maybe I just do a just chatting stream for 3 hours or I figure out how I feel about this. Yeah, so this is what we're doing right now. But the group project, I think we kind of came to some conclusions about this, which is it wouldn't be mainstay content. When there's content, I can broadcast it. And when there isn't, just let the project keep moving forward. I wonder how much management effort would go into this though. And that's where I like the idea of there's a code jam and that leads to an open source project that people contribute to. And I do reviews, pair programming, and maybe simple features or bug fixes. I think that could be kind of neat. Do you have a user script adding pronunciations to names in chat? Oh, this sort of thing where it says Mitch? No, that's just manually done. I'm content with my content. Yeah, and I think I'm open to a lot of ideas. Like I tried doing development for 5 years, and like I said, it just felt like a grind at some point. There were days where I woke up and I was just like, man, I got this problem that I'm facing. And I feel like if I'm going to architect the direction that I want to take the stream in, that I shouldn't ever be in that situation again where I feel like, hey, the next month is just going to be difficult work. I don't want to do it. I have no one to help with it. And I think all of those things can be adjusted. So we could get people to help with the difficult work. We could not pursue difficult work, which I'm probably not going to do. I'll probably still do difficult things. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways we can approach this. Add a little pencil next to people's usernames when you click them. Yeah, just to show you here, I can click this and then type in whatever I want to type for your name. Actually started learning Go today. Made a Twitch auth package to handle refresh token update. Next up is a Twitch chat client. Been really fun to be honest, just slow progress. What's your opinion on Golang? Is it worth to learn? Worth it. I like the fact all the tooling just works. So my high level opinion is it's worth it to learn practically anything that life has to offer. And so Golang is no different from that. And given that it's a programming language and we're talking specifically about programming, I think it's also helpful for that and just to see what other languages do. Golang, I've heard a friend say it's a language you can fit in its entirety in your head. You don't need to consult a doc for it. I think there are languages that have become somewhat bloated and have a lot of features you're just not even supposed to use. So you think about JavaScript or C++, like there's some legacy to that, and there are some things you just shouldn't even ever touch. I think JavaScript has a with operator, which I don't think, yeah, if I'm even thinking of JavaScript, it's something that you just should never even code with. So yeah, Go is not that way. As for how to use it correctly, I've heard different opinions on this, and that you need enough experience if you're going to use this at a company on a team level. And so my experience with Go was at Google. Google made Go, so they certainly know how to use it, and I didn't have those problems. So I can't attest to that. But yeah, maybe that's true. Do you like or ever use data classes? Data-only classes are structured that minimize methods that perform any functionality, but instead literally store data in its final form. The last language I used that supported data classes was Kotlin, and it actually supported data classes that had functions as well. So I've never used just data classes. I consider those to be structs, although typical C structs, I guess, could also have functions. So I don't know. Yeah. Um, yeah. Just a good formula. What works on Twitch is variety and consistency, like a multiplayer game. Yeah. I don't know so much that the variety works on Twitch. I mentioned this before with the projects that I did, but if we go to, I can just do this, see projects. These projects had wildly different audiences. The Minecraft mods had a ton of people watching. The NES ROM had almost nobody watching. And they're both games, but the variety is in the era of gaming. NES is the late 80s. Minecraft mods was the like 2008, 2009 era, I guess. So separated by quite a long time. And then things like hacking seem to have slightly higher, and yeah, I don't know, there's some other things. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's hard to brand your channel as a variety channel. And people have said this earlier, even in this stream, that, hey, look, I'll watch you for this sort of thing, but I don't want to watch you for this sort of thing. Or yeah, co-working sounds great. And then half the other people are saying, I don't want to watch a co-working stream. I prefer hearing the streamer talk. So it's like, you can't please everybody. And the kind of people who are okay with the variety, I think are more here for the sort of background noise for me, and not necessarily the content itself. Use file system API released in 2022 to open and save to the file system instead of using Ahref. What? I don't think I've ever had a need for that. Something half decent. A group project could be like you did Jump Royale, start from a design doc and from scratch and slowly decide what features you want or not with chat. Yeah, I think this could be good. I think this is the other way besides doing it as a code gem. Did I have this written down somewhere? Could have sworn I did. Did I not write it down? Huh. I don't know who had suggested this, but wait, could have sworn maybe it was written as OS and I just missed it. Okay, let's just copy paste all of this and then search for jam, nothing, open source, nothing, OS. Yes, it was Caleb's message. Perhaps one of the participants entry for a jam could be an open source project. Yeah. So then this could be here. So if not sourcing from a jam, could just do something like Jump Royale. Yeah. Okay. Never need to create a web app that reads from or writes to the file system? Not really. I guess the closest thing I did for that was Homepagerizer. There's an import button, but I mean, this is just like a drag and drop content on here, and then there was a save button. But yeah, that's it. And both of those things are, I think, pretty straightforward. Tried to use AI to summarize my notes. I haven't. I don't think I ever really need to summarize my notes. I guess you could maybe say in a case like that, like find the line that I was looking for. Yeah. Okay, what other things do I have here? So group projects. I said I don't know what that would look like. Have we fully explored this yet? So we talked about sourcing group projects, either like Jump Royale, where I design a project on stream and then code the beginnings of it, or a code/game jam, where the community understands that this is a possibility. Actually, that's another idea here, is if sourcing from a jam, it doesn't need to be part of the rules, that you open yourself up to an open source project. It could just be a vote on the people who volunteer. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Vatuti. You could load your document in a question answering model. So you can ask a question and the model will retrieve the answer. Yeah, yeah. And I think there are times you want to query your notes for that, and then times where you probably just want to query the entire internet. How much do you trust your own notes to be authoritative on a matter? And for some things you do, like your personal life. Hey, today I did blank. Yeah, for that, there's no way you can ask the internet. You need to ask your own notes. When am I making the course? I want to make it in March, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the biggest course I make for a very long time. So it might not get done in March, but I want to at least start. Well, starting a game where a certain percentage of the project is expected to be completed by community volunteers. So that way you might draw in new contributors, but you act as the kicking off point and let it go from there. That was kind of the idea of a lot of what I'd been talking about earlier, I guess. I like this idea. I like being more of an overseer and having someone lead the project. No, it's okay, Mitch. And even if it's fine to talk about this again, even if I had talked about it. And so, okay, my thinking from earlier was whenever I came up with this idea, I always thought, what does it mean to just oversee a project? And what does it mean for the stream? And my conclusion this time around was it doesn't need to mean anything more than what I did with Jump Royale. Jump Royale, I did about 3 hours on Friday of PR merging. And this could be the same thing. It could be 3 hours of code reviews or feature planning or actual developing. And it doesn't need to be 20 hours of that. Yes, the Overlord. She thought of making some sort of SaaS you could build and get us out, make a tech startup type thing. Yeah, I have. This was one of the things that was in the return to streaming document. I'll show you because it's kind of an interesting idea. It's called Co-Found with Adam. So I think it'd be great to be part of a company with someone else. Rough sketch, someone else owns the project in 80% equity. So they can offer equity to other people. I get 20% and act as a developer and advisor. For me, it'd be cool to explore different spaces. For others, they get to be partial developer, get some expertise, get a network of resources. Yeah. Hang on. I'm gonna sit down, which means I gotta move this mat out of the way. This green screen really splits up the room in a way I don't like. Potlandify. Paint it blue. I need to paint it transparent so I can see right through it. And green screen, nothing. Yeah, this co-found idea is a pretty heavy idea, and that we're actually talking about things like equity and money and, you know, making a product. And in that sense, I think there's only so much you can do on stream. And so one of the things, let's say this turned out to be a great idea, and that's all I end up doing. I don't know how much of that you can stream. And I guess at some point I maybe need to ask the question of like, how important is the stream to me? And I really like it. I really like it right now. I like most of the work I do. I think I am more focused on growth than I thought I would be. And I don't know if this is a dangerous thing. I've said this to people who want to get into streaming, that you really shouldn't focus on your view count because it's probably separate from your goals, unless your goal is to make a ton of money off of streaming, which is not a good goal to have. And now look at me. I'm like, the stream isn't growing. Adam as a service is a pretty interesting concept. You know, I've always kind of thought about Twitch is personality as a service. And so in a sense, it's every streamer is that service, right? You're watching them. Just stream literally 100% of it, never hide anything. That way there are never any questions or concerns about where something is at. That's essentially what I had as an idea for the mentoring stuff, but then there are other parts of it that are adjacent. So it's like video creation. If you've seen one of the mentoring videos on YouTube, I start with an intro saying, hey, this is the session I just did with Remy, and here's what we cover, or something like that. That takes like a minute to record. That's something that I do after the stream. And it's, to be honest, is a little bit tedious. And every task has some amount of tedium associated with it. So if you were to start a business, for example, you might say, okay, I'll show everything. But like, what if we need to incorporate a new business? Am I going to show myself filling out paperwork? Like, I don't know, or contacting the government with questions. Like the number of times I've had to call the IRS for my business and be like, how do I do this? By the way, the IRS is great. I think they get a bad rap for whatever reason, but every time I've called them, they've known everything I've ever asked them about. Yeah. Sorry for bothering you, the AI, but with a mind like yours, I can't think you would do great things if you created some personas to help you make decisions on subjects you don't master. I have never thought about that idea. Making a persona to help me make decisions. Whoa. Do people do this? I mean, I guess I've used AI to help me with small decisions, like how do I write a birthday card or something. I've never thought about it for big decisions. Yeah, it's very effective. Hmm. Teaching someone that entire process so they could do it, I think that'd be incredible to do. It's sort of like the mentoring stuff, right? Like any knowledge that that person wants, a mentee wants, I am happy to share with them. I guess that would be more of a tutorial style thing, Mitch. Should I eat today? No. Yeah, it's kind of like flipping a coin. I'm very intrigued by the idea. I think this could at least make for an interesting project. Could at least make for an interesting project. How would I train an AI based on my needs? It could just be prompt engineering. Yeah. Very interesting. Okay, so group project. We talked about a few of these things, and we talked about sourcing from a gem, sourcing from just an idea I have, and asking the community about things. I do want to try this somehow. And we're kind of already doing it with Jump Royale, but Jump Royale is something that I still see myself as like the owner. I would need to delegate ownership to one of the main contributors. And I'd be open to doing that, by the way, but I just I don't know how much more we're going to do with Jump Royale. Yeah, is this project worthwhile? Well, more worthwhile in terms of what my goals are. And I guess I need to give it an idea of what my goals are. Look at YouTube channel, Essential Craftsman. Build an entire house all the way from buying the land to selling it and documenting the entire process. Yeah, I know what you mean, Mitch. I've kind of had this mentality with most of the dev stuff that I do. I've done design, I've done coding, I've done testing, I've done sucky artwork, and kind of everything else when it comes to development. I have not done things like the business side. I haven't done meetings. I don't know what else. I guess any other private stuff. So like production, databases, tokens, etc., those sorts of things. Oh, by the way, Smooth, did it work? I didn't take a look in Jump Royale. Is the timer hidden at the end now? I merged in your code. I just never tested it because it was one line. So I figured, it looks good. Failed to look at the end screen. Okay. It has to be some monetary goal. The goal should be at least do something I enjoy and get paid enough. Yeah, the getting paid enough part, this is where I haven't shared like what enough is. And so right now, I could probably share what Twitch revenue has been. Let's find out. It has not been very good. Okay, so if we start, let's just do this. How do I do this? That button. Okay, so here is Twitch revenue from December 4th, so when I started up again. And it is $2,000 total. And that's over the course of 2.5 months. So if you extrapolate, you just, multiply that by about 4, you get $8,000 per year, which is very, very low for a developer. And this is essentially my only source of revenue right now. And granted, I'm not trying to build up the Twitch revenue or anything, but for anyone who's like, what does a streamer of this size make or get through Twitch? Like, this is generally what it is. And like I said, the first year is not supposed to be about money, and it's not really supposed to be about money through Twitch ever. I want to do that through courses or through sponsorships or something. And I stopped running ads at some point because ads were pretty much worthless. So, yeah, and 50% rev share, that's another thing. If it went up to 60%, that $2,000 would turn into $2,400. And then if it went up again to 70%, it would turn into $2,800 and I wouldn't have to do anything. Not a log cabin. I mean, oh, yeah. I get what you're saying. Definitely. And if I wanted to show everything, I think I could. I think it would also change what the stream is about. I think at that point, you need to have a channel just for that. Like, let's build this thing from scratch. Message retracted. I didn't know you could do that on YouTube. Interesting. Now you had a big following before you started working at Google. This looks pretty good for the first 2 months. Yeah. I think it looks good too. I'm not like upset or anything. When I talk about, okay, for those who don't know, devs make a lot at companies like Google. And so if you say, hey, I made 2K in whatever, 2.5 months, this is very little compared to what I had left. Now, I knew that when I left, and I knew that when I had joined, and I don't compare the two in terms of here's what my expectations are, but I don't think Twitch chat necessarily knew that. So a long time ago, back in 2020, I had talked about like, I want to make greater than whatever I talked about, some number of dollars. And people were like, what? And I said, this is pretty standard in the US. So, yeah, I have at least that in mind. And this is something, okay, everyone already knows I'm married, and my wife, of course, knows how much money I made at my last job. And so there's always been this thought of like, you're leaving a sure thing to go do this. And so how long do you do this for? At what point do you consider it to have failed or to be time to move on? And, how much do I consider from what I could be making versus what I am making, and knowing that my wife knows that stuff too. So anyway, this has caused a lot of just a lot of difficulty in coming up with decisions here. When I talk about revenue, there was Twitch, there were courses. I used to have a Patreon. I got rid of that. There's eventually going to be YouTube ad revenue, I guess. There were 2 sponsorships that I did, or my entire time. It was with First and it was with Brilliant, and I think that was it. There was the tiniest bit of merch. There were T-shirts, which I sold at a $0 markup, and there were affiliate links, I think. And I think that sums up everything that every way people could have given money. Anyway, if not, this is the bulk of it. And all of these things are basically dials. You could say like, okay, I want to turn the Twitch dial up, or I want to push Patreon more, or I want to, grow bigger on Instagram. And it's hard to figure out which one of those would pay off the most if you were just going for money. And so what I have pretty much concluded is Twitch is bad for money unless you're already big. And so if I were to push every single day and I'm like, guys, we got to hit 5 subscribers per day or something like that, yeah, it might help. I'd feel kind of bad doing it, and I don't really think it's super worthwhile. And so courses were the thing that were like the best fit for me. I'm providing obvious value for money. Whereas Twitch, it was harder to say, I know I'm providing entertainment. I know people have learned from the stream. I know all the benefits, but I just feel weird about it because you can watch for free. So why would you pay money? Been staying with my current company because I believe in the project. With other jobs, I can literally double my total compensation just in base salary. Yeah, I know. And it's tough too, because you always think like, well, I could do things on the side. I could, and at some point you think about something for long enough where it starts to become a little bit more realistic to do. And then you wonder, did I convince myself about this, or is it the right path? At least that's what I've seen myself do. I could see you having a good course site. I mean, I started a course site back in 2020. I just only ever made 3 courses, and these 2 are free now. The Godot course and the Firebase course. And they're on YouTube as well, so it's not like you need to go to the site. I don't know why this isn't loading. Oh, it's probably some cloud-based function they needed to spin up. I'm guessing if I refresh this now, it's pretty much instantaneous, yeah. And I'm guessing it's the same thing over here. Well, there it goes. Yeah, so these courses are free. This one's still paid. I still believe in this course. I'm going to make my next paid course probably in March, probably finish it in April, hopefully. So it's still a route. I'll still see where that goes. Also, I think the next course I make, since I've already said this a bunch of times, it's going to be on organization. This one in particular, I think could do very well given how people have commented on my organization skills. And so then the next course, I don't know what it is, but I don't think it can do nearly as well. So I don't think I can really form a lot of conclusions based on how well this one does. I don't feel weird about it. Easy solution. Sometimes that is the way to go. I do still feel weird about it. I've had sub goals on stream. I've been like, hey, did you know about Twitch Prime and all that stuff? And it just doesn't sit well with me. Nor do I think it really scales all that well. Again, think about a 50-50 rev split. A Twitch sub is worth what, like $2.50 at most? Something like that. Well, a tier 1. And so if you get 10 of these, it's $25. And you think, how many people did I like put off or rub the wrong way by saying, hey, did you know you can subscribe to this channel? And for, $25 or something. I appreciate it. I'm not trying to trivialize what people have done to support the stream. I'm just saying this is why I don't advertise this more or try to ask for it more. I just don't feel like it pays off as much for how much it might disrupt the flow. $2 now after they reduced it to $4 a pop. For some countries they did, I think, or at least that's Twitch Prime. I think you just spend money. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Hey, Vespertine. Okay, so where do we stand on the discussion topics? I didn't want to get through most of these. So group project, we got some ideas for. How does game dev fit into this? So I think I just still do game dev when I feel like it. And it fits under the umbrella of learning. When I want to productize anything, doesn't really fit into learning as much. Paris, thank you for resubbing. You can subscribe. Why not go to Kick instead? I don't really think. Okay, so let's say I were just on Kick. I just somehow I snap my fingers and all of a sudden Twitch turns into Kick and my rev share goes from 50-50 to 95-5. So now instead of whatever I just showed 2K, it goes up to 4K. That's better, but it's still not like sustain yourself off this money. So it's another platform I'd have to grow. And I think the more likely platform to grow right now is YouTube. So that's what I'm trying to focus more of my effort on. I think YouTube is still a dominant platform. I think it's got a lot of eyes on it. And I think that there are some clear monetization routes in the form of ad revenue and sponsorships. Yeah, I have the Partner Plus thing below the stream. I don't even know what that's at. I haven't looked at that. And I don't care about it so much as a goal anymore. I think I've changed my goals on here. Where does this show? There it is. 84 out of 350. I wanted the goal to be set to 100. That's the real goal. I don't know. I don't think I can do that though. But yeah, it doesn't matter too much. Would you be open to making a bunch of small games? I just don't know how you'd monetize them. Monetization isn't an issue for 2024 at least, other than it's something I need to figure out eventually. So I need to find kind of what works. But making a bunch of small games I think could be kind of interesting. I think I'd probably save them for jam style things. There are still some things I want to look into and learn, and I've got topics for sure. In fact, we might be doing some of this afternoon or in the coming week. These were the big things I wanted to focus on in the next month or so. So Godot multiplayer, I put a check mark next to it because we started it, but we haven't finished it. There's more I want to learn, more I want to do with that. That's at least another week of content. Video editing techniques. There are some things that I use DaVinci Resolve, and I know how to do some things. I don't know how to do other things. I want to find easier ways or better ways or different programs. So I want to look into that. And then the OAuth stuff was more like Lucia and Twitch OAuth. Twitch, like, I'll just write Twitch stuff. It doesn't need to be clearer than that. So yeah, there's some content I want to do. And then after that, I want to kind of figure things out. So yeah, we're in this mode where I'm starting to look into these things. Mitch, you're just a combination of everyone else. You do shorts. T3 has a few threads on his thoughts about growth platforms. Twitch and YouTube vids aren't it. I don't do shorts yet. No, that's one of the things I wanted to focus on at some point. And that I probably need to set aside some dedicated time for. Create a SaaS that follows your stream or stream follows it. What do you mean by it follows my stream or the stream follows it? So many YouTubers pushing that right now. I guess that's one of the issues with getting an advertising budget. You end up sponsoring, let's say 50 YouTubers, and then everyone who watches a small section of them will feel like, why am I seeing the same ads everywhere? But maybe that's a benefit. It's an intentional thing. Offering services or products through it. Mini games is an example. I'm not fully sure I understand, but I think there are a couple things that we had to split apart here. So monetizing, I'll just say not a major goal for 2024 at least. And then anything that makes money, we split apart the goals into how much is it making the product, how much is it making money, and how much is it about the journey there. So learning, networking, etc. And so a lot of times people are like, hey, you know what would make money? And then this bumps to the top of the list. Like you immediately framed it as, you know what makes money? What if you did this idea and cool? And these are just sort of ancillary things. And so like making the product, I think this is something like we made Jump Royale. The goal was to have it. The goal wasn't to make money off of it. The goal wasn't exactly the journey there, although we did do something kind of interesting with that by making it only take 3 days. Kick is that Twitch has Amazon, YouTube has Google, Kick has... I don't know how much staying power you need. If you can manage multiple platforms, then it shouldn't be too bad. Like right now, I have YouTube chat open on my other monitor, and I can generally see out of the corner of my eye if someone posts a message to it. So imagine if I had something that merged all of the different chats from the sort of smaller platforms for me. Then the cost isn't so high for me. Benefit probably isn't that high for people who are watching on YouTube right now, though. Would you trust TikTok's video editor? I don't know. Yeah, I haven't heard about this, but I don't use TikTok, so I don't know if I would trust their video editor. Streaming the literal product, is that what you mean? I'm talking about the reason for doing something. So sometimes your reason for doing something is to learn. So for example, you might be like, hey, I want to try out Rust. Sometimes the reason is to make money. You're like, I just need to do a site for a client or something like that. And sometimes the reason is you want the product. And in this case, it's like I made a bot for the stream and it's because I need to use this thing. And it's not like you can only have one reason for doing something. And I'm just saying this whole thing that Original Pepper was suggesting, which was create a SaaS, like what's the purpose of it? And it sounds like it might be to make money. And if we're looking at just making money right now, I'm just saying it's not really a goal for 2024. Yeah. Kick has casinos financing it. It's got some staying power. I wonder how many people are using the platform, because there's one thing to have staying power in terms of just like staying afloat, but then there's another thing is like, are people using it? Are they happy with it? Did they like it? And I think Kick got some big streamers to come to it, but that they didn't have an exclusivity deal. So if you could watch that same streamer on Twitch, would you just stay on Twitch? And I don't know. I don't know enough about this. I have only gone to Kick. I have not really watched streams on it. I haven't become a user of it. It's like back in the early days of Twitch, knowing that Kappa as an emote was like a big part of Twitch culture. It was it was a big thing, and then there are other emotes, and now there's like way too many, and every channel can have their own, and now there are affiliates and everything. I'm not saying this is a problem. I'm saying that it's diluted that cultural aspect of it. So Kick itself probably has some cultural aspect that I am completely unaware of. Like people making fun of that it's a gambling site. Are people, whatever, is it trying to copy Twitch as much as possible? Something half decent. Check out levels.fyi. That generally gives a pretty good idea of what we're talking about. You can put in locality, you can put in the role, you can put in the level that people have. Okay, so what have we not discussed yet? How does game dev fit in? I think my specific conclusion with game dev is it's not really any different from productizing anything else. When it comes to game dev, the branding of Adam Learns isn't I'll say it this way. When it comes to the branding of Adam Learns, game dev isn't too different from anything else that I do. If the goal is to create a product, then it'll seemingly deviate from the brand, and that's probably okay. If it lasts for 12 to 18 months and it seems like it's a problem, then I can tackle it then. Yeah. I believe there's zero ad revenue. Ad revenue pretty much doesn't matter unless you're, some mega streamer. And if you're a mega streamer, you're already getting enough from subs where the ad revenue still pretty much doesn't matter. Like on Twitch, I don't think I could show you the breakdown there, but somewhere I have the breakdown of ad revenue, and I decided there's just no reason to even really run ads. Or like you can't stop it from running ads, but there's no reason to run more ads than normal. Like reading web novels, and they can bring in a large amount simply through a supportive and patient reader base. Oh, I see what you're saying. Like you can get chapters ahead of time or something like that. And yeah, I think like I said, I'm not super concerned about the monetization so far. I know we're talking about it a lot. I don't want that to throw people. It's going to become a concern in 2025, but it's not a concern for this year. It's still just explore things and see where things go. And I really like how that's been going. Again, I make my journal public, and this is just a journal documenting kind of what we do on the stream. It's not like a private diary or something, but chatting about the future. So spent the morning chatting about what's going to happen with the stream and YouTube. Got some really good input from chat. Yeah, so if we look back at all the stuff that I've worked on, it's mostly been the bot, Jump Royale, the Code Jam, and mentoring. I think those are the biggest things. And I'm pretty happy with that so far. I think it's good content. And I've also been building up YouTube. And I haven't really talked about the stats too much for this. Can I show this easily? Let's see. So unfortunately, one of the things I did mention is that the number of watch hours dropped when I made some videos unlisted. But yeah, here we go. This is probably something I can show. So here's last 28 days for the YouTube channel. You see spikes on pretty much every Wednesday or Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, Tuesday is when I post videos, which is Wednesday for a lot of people just based on time zones. I don't know if I can go back here. Oh yeah, here we go. It's the last 90 days. So you see one mega spike for when I made the Google video. Yeah, why I left Google. That one did very well. But then, yeah, you're seeing this little wave effect. So what I'm hoping happens is that these waves keep getting a little bit higher each time. And I mean, I have gained subscribers, so I think it's gonna slowly happen. And if every once in a while there's a video that does a little better than the other ones, that'll probably boost things up too. Hey, Dan Steph, would you ever consider creating a template for guessing games? I don't recognize that guessing game. Laldil? Thanks, Programmer D. I think the idea is really cool, and people have created similar games like Paldol for... Oh, like a Wordle kind of thing. Oh, the DLE means it's a Wordle style game? Okay, got it. I think a non-video game example would be for someone to guess a random programming language based on a set of properties. That is actually a project someone just shared in Show and Tell on my Discord. If you go to Discord, I think it was Vafi who shared that they made a Wordle for programming languages. Anyway, would I consider creating a template for it? I don't think it'd be high on my list of things I'd want to do. And it's not to say I'd totally rule it out, but I think if there are other things that are higher on my list, that I'd probably be looking for those. I'm looking essentially for content that I can produce for a long time. And so something like a Wordle style game would be a very small project. And so the content that I'd produce for a long time would be like many, many small projects. And I think this could wear me down. I'm getting recognized. Yeah. Anyway, Programmer D, I know I only said thanks, but thank you very much. I appreciate the Prime sub. World's best moderator right there. Considered that what's going to happen with the stream sounds like you're breaking up with us. It does kind of sound like that, but I just think things need to change a bit. And again, the biggest indicator I had is when I had 5 days of streaming and then no time for YouTube videos, that we've instead shifted to 4 days of streaming and Tuesdays for YouTube. I think that this number is still up for grabs. I think this might turn into 3.5 or 3. And then I don't think we'd probably go lower than 3 for a while. I still want streaming to be a big part of what I do. What's the best way to handle tasks in your life? I mean, things you have to do. Are you tracking them? If so, how? Yeah, I have a to-do list in Obsidian. I mean, it's not really any different from the to-do list you see on stream. So it's just a list of tasks, and I just look through them and try to go through them every once in a while. That's it. And some are easier than others. I coincidentally got one of these done. I was mentioning that I wanted to sell my Moonlander, and one of the viewers who was in the stream has bought the Moonlander. So I shipped it out, and it is gone. It is now one thing less on my to-do list. Finally, some recognition. Yeah, finally. Programmer D is getting what he deserves. But anyway, the best way to manage tasks in your life is very personal. So for some people, you might have a to-do list and it works. For other people, you need something on your calendar. For some, you just know what you have to do. There's also this concept of an ephemeral to-do list where you have, let's say Monday's written out and it's something like go buy groceries and, I don't know, pet the cat. If you don't get this stuff done, it just literally disappears. And then Tuesday is a blank slate. And so if it was important, if it was important enough, you will probably remember it. And if it wasn't important, then I guess you could have dropped it. And that way, every to-do list is just for that day. My idea was simply focusing on projects rather than the content. Your content is working on the projects, and the projects are the revenue stream. They can complement each other, and you can move from general content back to the projects as your mood or audience changes. Main focus is the goals to drive the future rather than simply the stream content. I see what you're saying. I don't see exactly how it's different though from some of the stuff we've been doing. I feel like I'm just trying to figure out the content right now, and it can be projects, and those projects will eventually help grow kind of everything that's here: Twitch, YouTube, and I'll learn by doing them too. So yeah, I think my overall conclusion from today, at just kind of a high level here, is I'm really glad I had this stream. I'm very appreciative of the input, and I have more direction than I did before. And there were some key realizations there, and I wrote them in this document. This document is currently, it's public. I'll share this on both channels at the same time. Wow, paste doesn't work. There we go. Never stop, never drop feeding the cat. Yeah. Yeah, and maybe I'll write my overall conclusions here too. Overall, this stuff. Did we get through all the discussion topics I had? This was the last thing. Dabbled in a P2P streaming service via BitTorrent. Something that could be a long-term project. Yeah, I was mentioning this earlier. I want to avoid long-term projects. The last big one was Botland, and it was like 4+ years long. And I just don't want to lock myself into that kind of content for a very long time. And if it naturally happens, I guess I'll see where it goes. But I do want to just spend 2024 exploring. I don't want to do many short-term projects. So like I think there needs to be some short-term and then some medium-term. And I think this is the important part here is there's something here that is maybe not a project exactly. I think of a project as like one product or service or game. But I guess when I think of a project that can be long-term, in this case, it's something like mentoring, I guess. So this is something that's going to last for years, but each individual little thing is like an hour per week, maybe. So is it a long-term project? I guess kind of. Is it even a project? I'm not really totally sure. But yeah, I think some more of the medium-term ones where it's like maybe, I don't know, a month long, something like that. And I think of short-term as being like a week, something like that. And then yeah, long-term is probably like 6+ months, maybe 3+. I don't know, 3 to 6. I think Wordle base would be a small project. I think the beauty of it is people can create an infinite amount of user-generated content. For example, someone can make one for Japanese food. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's an interesting idea. And I wasn't trying to say I would never do something like that. I just think if I have all of the ideas in a list here, idea A, B, C, some of these are going to naturally be ones where I'm like, oh man, I really want to do this one. And so this idea is something where it's like, yeah, I think it's cool. And I could see taking an idea like this and building it out to the point where you make it interesting. I think what's tough about projects like that is typically you have your community to pull from, and then beyond that, you need to do some kind of marketing for it. And then usually some kind of support as well, support and maintenance. And these are also things I'm kind of trying to steer away from for right now. And the community isn't big enough where I can really sustain a project like that yet. And maybe I don't need to, right? Maybe it's like, well, someone in the community does a Japanese food Wordle. Yeah. And so how much would you have to do? And as an example, so this homepage that I have is made in a service I wrote a while ago called Homepagerizer. And so this is something you can type in a link, you can type in something like whatever, Twitch, and type in the URL, and there. Now your homepage that you have has a Twitch link at the bottom. This currently allows you to save to an HTML file, and that's it. So now this is not the most usable way of doing things. I think the most usable way would be you point your URL bar at like homepagerizer.com/AdamLearns, and that's my homepage. And maybe there's authentication or something. In order to do this, I now need to make this a service that's available like all the time and has some ongoing costs probably, or maybe I can get away with a free tier of some service. And now people might have questions. I need to worry about like, well, what version of the site are you using? Or I don't know. There's just a lot more moving parts, and it's something that it's not like it's that hard to do. It's just another thing you need to think about though when it comes to the project. And I think that the Wordle thing is kind of similar to that. I don't know what just happened. I think I accidentally closed everything. Okay, well, we can pull this back. Because I'd have short and some medium term features. Yeah, and then the question is the project overall interesting? So the bot was essentially that first thing. This is a huge project where we can add small features. And so the other day I added in the gift command, and that took whatever, 2 hours to do. But then there are going to be bigger features like editing commands through the site. That's probably going to take like a week to do. However, I don't think the bot project is interesting for a lot of people. And as I said earlier, I don't blame people. I don't think it'd be interesting to me if I were a viewer, but as a creator of it, I kind of need it. So I'll just add features as I need to. Yeah. So video game creation is your main endeavor, passion, and type of content you want to make? I think it's up there. Like I said, I've usually classified the things that I work on as like game dev, web dev, some amount of infrastructure, and then yeah, miscellaneous stuff. And I think they're probably in this order of what I like doing. But I don't know how much of this I want to focus on. And I think if it were to become the main focus, I would rebrand to be like Adam Makes Games or something, Collaboration with Lana, Prime, and Teach at some point. Yeah, I think that could be interesting. I was already on Lana's podcast. I think of that as like a different kind of collaboration, I guess. I think it'd be neat to do more of that sort of thing. And I think the way I could sort of offer some help is like Adam consults. I reach out to these people and ask if there's a feature or tool that they need and try to build it for or with them. I think something like that could work. And a lot of this has to do with just kind of figuring out what does it look like? How repeatable is it? One of the things I ran into when I was doing the first bit of Adam Learns content is I was doing some collaborations with the people. There were people who would teach me things. And one of the issues with that is there's just so much coordination whenever it comes to collaborating with people. You need to figure out their schedule, your schedule, what you're going to talk about, what your plan is, how available they'll be for that week. There's just a lot of overhead with that. And that's what I think is going to cut into that whole, wherever I wrote this down, having 4 days of streams per week. I lost it. Anyway, yeah, I probably need to cut through that a bit. Yeah. Okay, so did we get everything? I think so. What was the last one? I don't know because I put these all over the place. Come on, where is it? I think it was about collaborations. Well, whatever. I'll just close all these tabs because this is all not helpful at this point. Oh man, look at how many tabs there were. I see numbers like untitled 26. So every time I had another thought, there's got to be some faster way to close these things. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so let's just go over these conclusions really fast. Yeah, I think I want to try a co-working stream tomorrow at some point and just kind of see how that goes. I think there is a seemingly high cost to trying new things for me. And then I always think like, how do I make this perfect? And I need to drop that. I need to just try those things. Content. I think planning the next game jam too. Some learning content. And then reading through these messages. Okay, yeah. Ooh, well, this was interesting. Thank you all for the input. I am going to take my lunch break, and I'm not sure what the afternoon is going to be. So now it is currently 12:02. So lunchtime. And then in the afternoon stream, it'll probably be another 3 hours of streaming. I think we're going to clean up a.bot.land/points. And then I guess we could do more of the Godot stuff. Yeah. Costco salad. Now Indian food. Turns out I totally misunderstood Turbo Dave, and they're saying, no, your afternoon content, Costco salad. Have an apps. Yeah. You happen to know why people watch dev streams? I mean, know why? I've certainly asked people before, and they've said a bunch of reasons. And back when Straw Poll was actually available, I just took a poll and asked people. But I think it's a combination of personality, expertise, education, probably background noise / co-working, and I don't know. That's about it. At least those are probably the top reasons. I don't know if I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, that product that they're making. Yeah, that too. Never emotionally recovered. That's such a weird, specific thing to say. Yeah, 6'3's in. This streamer's cute. Yeah. But yeah, I think these are the biggest ones. I think probably these two are the top ones, personality and expertise. So if you're watching someone who's an expert at something and they're somehow able to teach you or show what they do, it can be really cool to watch. And of course, if you like the person you're watching, want to see how other pro devs work. Yeah. Also, thanks for joining in. Thanks for chatting. Yeah, so I'm gonna get going. I will leave you with 2 links, and I'm not gonna rate anyone now, but I probably will in the afternoon. Discord and YouTube. So we are trying to grow the community and YouTube, and both of these things got links here. They're both free if you want to join. I hope you all have a good rest of your day, and I'll be back in about an hour to streaming, and we'll do some coding and then some Godot learning. Yeah, cool. Have a good day, everybody. See ya.